Less than 2 months from now, Calgary will host the 2000 Grey Cup. The hometown team trying to take another step towards getting there as they take on the Riders on Adidas Friday Night Football. Hey folks, how are you? Well, the whole gang is back together. Eric Tillman, Matt Dunnigan, and a man who skipped the season premiere of Dawson's Creek just to do this show. And that hurt him a lot. That's the one and only Chris Jones, James Duffy alongside. You know, if the Stamps have their way, they will only have 2 more road games this season. If they can win the West, they'll host the Western Final. If they can win that, they will indeed host the Grey Cup game. That is all part of the plan, but heck, still 5 weeks left, and they want to take it one step at a time, and step one's tonight.
That's right, James. The next 3 weeks are against divisional opponents. That's why they're trying to control their own destiny and get off on the right foot tonight against Saskatchewan. Look for them to continue to try to create turnovers defensively. 15 in the last 3 weeks. If they can continue to do this, and how they're going to do it? By confusing Henry Burris, giving them different look after different look, and making them hold on the ball, hopefully letting Traversy, Peoples, Fleming, and Jacobs get in his face and pressure that young quarterback into creating turnovers. If they can do this, I believe they're going to be on the right track and starting their way to controlling their own destiny.
Now, on the Saskatchewan side of the ball, defensively, you heard John Wells and Danny Barrett talking about the fact they have a bunch of green guys, literally green guys, rookie guys in the backfield. And you know it's a bad sign when Danny Barrett says he'd be licking his chops if he was playing quarterback for the Stampeders, and he's the coach of the Riders.
That's not a good sign, is it? There's no question this young secondary is a cause of concern. Now, this year we've given a lot of compliments to GM Roy Shivers, and his impact on this Rider football team is very obvious. But I think at this point, even he would agree, in retrospect, that it was a big mistake to go into the season with 5 rookie DBs. They had some options in the offseason that they didn't exercise to get veterans either via trade or via free agency. They didn't do that. When you hire Gary Echeverry as the defensive coordinator, you know you're going to be a pressure defense. It's hard to pressure people when you got 5 rookies on the back end, and it's cost them some games, Schultz.
You know what? That rookie issue is what I'm interested in, because you look at the Saskatchewan Roughriders, they had a 4-game winning streak, and then they had a 2-game losing streak. And I got to ask myself, why? Why would that happen? Well, this is a very young football team, and I think some of these rookies have really hit the wall. By that I mean, remember, rookies coming to the Canadian Football League play 11 games in the schedule. Well, the 12th and 13th game, which were 2 losses for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, that's more games than some of these young guys have played in years after years. And I think there isn't so much that the effort isn't there, but football becomes a grind. It doesn't become a challenge. If there's one thing I'm looking tonight for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, emotion, because you can rejuvenate that energy. You can get that enthusiasm back. You get that enthusiasm, you make plays. Some of these guys, I think, hit the wall, James.
Hey,
he is just, you know, off air, man. You know,
I'm concerned.
You see what he does off air, man.
I can just hear Shiv at your house right now, boy. He is all over you,
Hey,
Tillman.
10 compliments to Shiv, and what we remember, the one criticism. That's
I have no idea what you're talking about, frankly. They call him Smiling Hank, and he'll be grinning from ear to ear if he can pull off the upset tonight. Henry Burris and the Riders in McMahon to take on the Stamps. We're done talking. Football next.
When Dave Dickinson plays, the Stampeders are almost unbeatable. Add super receiver Travis Moore in perfect health, and it could be a long night for the guys in green.
For all the Riders, the rookies in the secondary, it's time to grow up in a hurry. The leadership has to come from Marcus McDavid, and Antoine Hunter has the unenviable task of stopping the league's best slot back in Alan Pitts. For the Riders to win tonight, this young group has to play like old pros.
The Stampeders have jammed more than 33,000 fans into McMahon Stadium 6 times this season. Tonight's sellout for Saskatchewan makes it 7 games in a row as Calgary leads the CFL in football fans. A little frost in the air tonight, partner. It's 4 degrees. The wind could be a factor southeast at 19K.
Danny Barrett started his coaching career here in Calgary in 1997 as a quarterbacks coach. That year he worked with Garcia, Dickinson, and Burris. 2 of the quarterbacks will meet each other here tonight in Burris and Dickinson. Barrett's Riders are desperate for a win.
And Calgary's Wally Buono continues his amazing run with the Stampeders. He has won 71% of his games since taking over as head coach in 1990. Quite a record indeed. Third meeting of the season for the Stampeders and the Saskatchewan Roughriders. This is Ben Ross. Nice move at the 30, but he's surrounded by Stampeders after that. After 4 straight wins, Henry Burris has now lost 2 in a row. as the Saskatchewan starting quarterback. And he's in tough tonight with Deon Tyler in for running back Darren Davis, who is having a great run, and rookie Dylan Ching filling in for veteran Dan Farthing. Jeremy O'Day moves to right tackle for the All-Star John Terry. Starting lineups for Midas, your auto service experts. Well, they didn't get that quite right.
Well, there's a penalty on the play, so the Calgary Stampeders will kick the football off again. When you talk about the loss in the offensive line for Saskatchewan, though, John, I think John Terry at that tackle position, he often plays the backside of Henry Burris, who is a right-handed quarterback. And if Terry, who is their best lineman, not playing tonight, Jeremy O'Day will have his hands full in this one.
Yeah, and that's been one of the real strengths of the Saskatchewan offense all season long. I mean, that's what they really built the team around, was that veteran offensive line. And this is the first real problem they've had up there.
So we'll have to reload and kick this one off one more time, but Calgary will do it back at their 30-yard line. So good field position for the Riders to start this game.
Bendras has had one practice run already. And he'll get another one here. Good field position indeed, Glenn, out across the 50 to the 52. Major gain for the Roughriders to start there against this Calgary defense.
Up front for the Calgary Stampeders, they have an awesome front seven led by Joe Fleming and Shante Peoples. Peoples has 8 sacks on the season. The secondary is a veteran group led in the middle by Simon Fraser graduate Greg Frere. 6 interceptions on the season. 2 have gone back for touchdowns.
Yeah, and that's third best in the league behind Smith and Sanchez in Montreal. Beginning at the 52, first down Saskatchewan. Burris shotgun. He'll get pressure all night, and he's on the money for Eric Gulliford, number 84, out across the 50.
Well, that's another one of the Rider weapons, Eric Gulliford, that has to get going here tonight for the Riders to have a chance. In week 4 of the season, the first game against Calgary, Gulliford had 143 yards. Receiving was a big part of their offense. But 2 weeks ago, he had just 3 catches for 21 yards. The Stampeders made adjustments, and they made adjustments to stop Gulliford and Curtis Marsh. 2 weeks ago, they did a very nice job of it.
Gulliford's travel is close enough to measure.
A chain length short.
So this is a super start for the Roughriders, who are really up against it tonight in Calgary with so many starters out of the lineup for Danny Barrett. They really need a good start. There's a lot of Saskatchewan fans in the stands at McMahon every time the Riders come to town. So while it's not a home game for Saskatchewan, it's a lot of green around.
Well, like you mentioned, the sellout crowd here in Calgary.
Second down inches. No flags down, so it'll be a Saskatchewan first down. Burris just followed in behind the center, James Monroe.
Well, it is a difficult situation for Danny Barrett to be in this game, simply because of the changes he's had to make on the offensive side of the ball. You've talked about it, John, but he has Darren Davis, who's really emerged as their feature running back out of the lineup. Now, Deon Tyler, who only played 5 games, has to play again tonight. He hasn't played in a few.
Yeah, the interesting thing about Davis, too, he was really going well, averaging 5.9 yards a carry, so they'll miss that. Tyler breaks one down inside the 10-yard line.
Or maybe they won't miss him.
They're not missing him thus far. 39 yards for Deon Tyler. And a nice fake by Burris set it up at the line.
Wow, good blocks, too, at the point of attack by Dan Komisky, number 67. He's taking out Shante Peoples and Jeff Travesty in the middle. You see, Peoples can't get there, and then Tyler just has to beat Greg Freres in the open field. He does that and picks up huge yardage. Started his first game of the year versus Toronto. Played 5 games and has not played as a starter since, till tonight.
39-yard gain sets the Riders up. First and goal at the 9. And Tyler gets Saskatchewan halfway to the goal.
Really the start that the Saskatchewan Roughriders needed in this football game. First of all, they get the penalty on the kickoff to give them instant field position to start this drive. Now they get a couple big plays, one out of Dion Tyler, one of the guys that we talked about as a replacement that Danny Barrett had concern with. And all of a sudden they're knocking on the door. They got to finish this drive, and it'll also take this sellout crowd out of it early.
At least for a while.
Yeah.
Till Dickinson gets out there. But a touchdown would be about perfect for the Saskatchewan Roughriders here, and that play is whistled down.
Time count violation. Saskatchewan number 1.
Costly error.
Still second down.
Yeah, it is a big error because it's the field position when you're on the 4-yard line. It looked like Henry Burrs was going to run a little play action there to Tyler, throw the quick game. He won't be able to do that now with the ball pushed back to the 8-yard line.
New faces in this Rough Rider lineup as starters tonight. Dylan Ching, number 22. Dwayne Demetrician, number 28, is a starter. And Dion Tyler. So second and goal to go from the 8. Burris stands in, fires. No catch. Dylan Ching.
Well, Dylan Ching came off a great game last week where he had 163 yards receiving but did not find the end zone. Actually was on his way to the end zone last week and got the ball stripped.
Yeah, home free.
Had a chance here for his first CFL touchdown, and it just slips through his fingers. And actually Jack Kellogg in behind him had a chance at it as well.
So the Riders will settle for an attempt of 3 by Paul McCallum. Good on 23 of 29, hitting on 79%. He's made 15 of his last 16. And the Riders finish off the drive with 3. They were oh so close to getting into the end zone. McCallum has Saskatchewan on top. It's Adidas Friday Night Football from Calgary. Dave Dickinson has been super hot. He has thrown 7 touchdowns for every interception so far this season. It doesn't get better than that.
Well, it is amazing. And when you talk to his teammates about his 28 touchdowns and only 4 interceptions right there, it's amazing. And the 4 interceptions is what his teammates are talking about. They're saying he just does not beat us. He does not make the mistakes that other quarterbacks make in this league, and that's been the big difference for him.
It is an all-star year, without question, for Dave Dickinson. Stampeders begin at the 35.
Whoa.
And there's a rider in the backfield wrapping up Rock Preston immediately. Arkel Trulock was there almost before the snap of the ball.
Well, he just beat the block right there of Jay McNeil before McNeil ever came out of his stance. It looked like he shot the gap and knew the snap count. He was back there right in the quarterback to running back handoff.
And he played it very well because he got to Dickinson too and then came back and got the runner.
Well, he tackled the right guy.
Yeah, he got the right guy eventually, but I mean, he had pressure on Dickinson. Could have wrapped him up and thrown him down had he held on to the ball. Loss for Calgary. This is second and a bunch, and more pressure from a gambling Saskatchewan defense. Alan Pitts made the catch, but he's well short of a first down. He has 5 yards, but they needed a bunch more than that after the great play by Arkel Trulock.
Well, Arkel Trulock back in the lineup does not have a sack this year, but a very good play to start things off for the Saskatchewan defense, because when you get Calgary in second and long like that, then Saskatchewan just played zone on second down and had Dave Dickinson throw it underneath.
Gulliford is deep for Tony Martino's first punt of the evening. Martino standing back inside his 25, so the Riders should get decent field position here as well. Gulliford chased back to the 25. Nice little return, and he's out near the 40. 13 on the return after a 48-yard punt. Injury timeout at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. It's Adidas Friday Night Football. 1st and 10, Saskatchewan when we return. Back Back at McMahon Stadium in Calgary, the Riders are a quick 2 and outs. Sorry we missed it, but there wasn't much to show you anyway.
Really, running play that got very little, and then Henry Burris very nearly threw an interception over the middle. It was dropped, so the Riders will punt the football after a couple of quick plays.
McCallum is in, standing back at his 25. Coleman and Travis Moore back near the 20 for the Calgary Stampeders. Fairly deep. Down to the 15. This is Coleman. Marvin Coleman out near the 30-yard line. Decent return of 14 yards after a 54-yard punt. Dave Dickinson gets his second crack at it tonight. The Stampeders are almost 100% healthy in their receiving core, and what a group it is. Moore, Pitts, Danielson, and Cummings. And in Bo Richter, who's the 5th guy, Brock Preston fills in for the missing Kelvin Anderson. Up front, no changes since July. These guys haven't missed a beat, have they? From the 29, first down. Stampeders. Saskatchewan on top. On a 16-yard field goal, Dickinson, nice play-action fake. Rolls to his right, has Pitts. And Pitts is wrapped up immediately after making the catch by Omar Morgan. The gain is 11.
Aaron Collins went a long way in that Rider linebacking core to get out there and force Dave Dickinson into that quick throw. He threw it when he really didn't want to. He was looking more downfield, but Aaron Collins sort of forced the issue on him. And got it off to Alan Pitts for a first down.
Pitts had a decent night against Saskatchewan 2 weeks ago, September 22nd. 12 catches, 173 yards.
It was pitch and catch for Dickinson
really
and Alan Pitts.
His best game of the season. Stampeders first down, 40-yard line. To the far side, Aubrey Cummings, number 87, made the catch.
Well, you know, one of the reasons that Alan Pitts had that big game 2 weeks ago, John, was because the Riders are playing the pressure defense, and they're doing it again here tonight. On that last play, they have everybody up on the line of scrimmage. What that does is it puts the Rider DBs, the rookie secondary, in man-to-man coverage. And you got Travis Moore, Aubrey Cummings, Alan Pitts, Bo Richter. That makes it awful tough on a young secondary.
It's a little unfair to do to rookies, but that's part of the deal. It was second down and less than a yard to go, and we have penalty markers down.
Well, it's part of Gary Echeverry's defensive game plan. That's the way he likes to play. It's the way he did it in Toronto. Of course, when he was in Toronto as the defensive coordinator, he had veteran
Offside.
defensive backs.
Saskatchewan 92. First down.
Sheldon Napustuk moved a little early there.
There's Gary Echeverry right there, and he had the veterans when he was in Toronto in the secondary and a pretty good front seven. Now he's got a younger front seven and, like we've mentioned many times, an all-rookie secondary. But they have played together for 8 straight games in that secondary, and they say every game out they're getting a little bit better.
First and 10, Stampeders at midfield. Dwayne Ford is the ball carrier, and penalty markers are down.
Well, I think Sheldon Napustuk went offside again in the middle of that defense. Remember, 2 weeks ago, it was Sheldon Napustuk that twisted Dave Dickinson's knee early in the game a couple of weeks ago.
Saskatchewan 91. First down repeated.
Wally Buono was a little upset, saying that he did it on purpose, and a lot of the articles that were written during the week after that game sort of went to the aid of Sheldon Napustuk because they said that he's one of the nicest guys on the team.
He is number 92, so they have singled out Demetrius Maxey, number 91. As
yeah, I think it was
a player who jumped early that time. Oh, you think it was Sheldon?
Yeah, I think it was Sheldon.
They just got the wrong number.
I think so.
Here, first and 5. Dickinson has all kinds of time. Travis Moore was the intended target, and he didn't get to it.
A lot of pressure on this Saskatchewan Roughrider defense. They do have Markel Trulock back in that front seven. He will help. We saw the big play he made in the first quarter. Demetrius Maxey having a great year. And, of course, they have George White, second in the league in tackles. And this is the all-rookie secondary. The pressure squarely on their shoulders tonight.
On second down and 5.
They even look young, don't they?
They do look a little young. A little wet behind the ears. This will be a Stampeder first down. First reception for Vince Danielson tonight. And he's to the 40. There are so many weapons the Calgary Stampeders can utilize. And Dave Dickinson is a master at it, spreading the ball around.
You know, I asked George Cortez, the offensive coordinator, about that rookie secondary that he's facing in Saskatchewan. And he said, you know, actually, when you talk about the schemes that they run, it doesn't really matter that they're rookies because they're always in man-to-man. He said, if it's rookies and they're playing zone, we can confuse them. But in man-to-man, it's pretty simple.
They know
you got that guy, yeah.
Man-to-man's pretty simple. You get a man, right?
The hard part is, can you cover?
Brock Preston playing this week for Calvin Anderson, who played 85 straight regular season games for the Calgary Stampeders and has to sit this one out, so Preston moves in.
Yeah, he banged up his shoulder last week late in the game versus Toronto, so Calvin Anderson is out. Brock Preston, that shows some of the Calgary Stampeder depth, especially on the offensive side of the ball when you can put Brock Preston in there and not skip a beat.
The game was 8. This is 2nd and 2 Stampeders. Just outside the Saskatchewan 30. Here's Preston. First down easily. And he's inside the 25.
They say really the difference between Brock Preston and Calvin Anderson is that Calvin Anderson is the great power runner inside. They both have very good hands, but Anderson runs a lot of those tough yards in the middle. Brock Preston has great breakaway speed, as you can see by his average at 9.8 yards. He has the capability on any given play to hit a seam and with great speed break it for a big gain.
He's had a couple of big gains, including 61 yards 2 weeks ago against the Saskatchewan defense. Another Calgary first down. Dickinson has time. Loads of it. Looks to the end zone and missed in the corner. Looking for Brock Preston.
Now George White, who's 2nd in the league in tackles in that linebacking core, and will make it tough for the reporters in Saskatchewan when they have to nominate a Rookie of the Year candidate. Of course, they have Curtis Marsh on offense, and right there, George White on D.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a very interesting vote. And 5 games to go. This one is critical tonight. Marsh has dropped off a little bit in the last couple of weeks, but I don't expect that to last for very long for Marsh because he has had a superb season. 2nd and 10. Dickinson out of the cover. And Travis Moore made the reception inside the 15. There's a penalty flag down back.
Travis
in
Moore,
the backfield of the Stampeders,
was not happy with the way Marcus McDavid treated him after the catch.
Roughing the passer, Saskatchewan 39. First down.
And then Dave Dickinson, who knows he's going to take a lot of hits, takes one a little late to add to this yardage.
Well, they've called Hunter for roughing the passer.
Well, Antoine Hunter is coming on the blitz at the top of your screen. Ball's gone 1-1000, 2-1000, and that's in slow motion. But that's definitely late. And that puts the Stampeders right down on the doorstep.
Yeah, it does. At the Roughriders 6-yard line. First and goal to go from there for the Stampeders. Another marker is down. Dickinson floats one right into the camera lens down there. Everybody all right? That one bounced right off the camera.
And that's the camera he hit. He just threw that one away. Really didn't have the coverage he wanted downfield. And wisely just threw it away and did not take another
Offside.
loss.
Saskatchewan 91.
Boy.
First down repeated.
Well, this time it was Demetrius Maxey.
So penalties have really helped the Stampeders march down to the Saskatchewan 3.
Well, when you consider that first play by Arkell Truluk, it's almost like that front four for the Saskatchewan Roughriders are trying to time up the snap count because they've had a couple of offsides, and Arkell Truluk on that first play was in the backfield before Dickinson barely got the ball.
Yeah, he might have got an early start there and got away with one.
Yeah.
First down, goal to go. Calgary Stampeders at the Saskatchewan 3. A little option. A little touchdown, Calgary. Brock Preston, but there is a marker down again.
Well, they had the big guys in there, the big unit. Some of the receivers out of there, bring in some extra linemen.
Offside. Saskatchewan number 91.
Another
Penalty
one.
decline. Touchdown.
Another one by Demetrius Maxey.
So Brock Preston gets the touchdown, his second of the season. And Nice little fake by Dave Dickinson. Gets Blue fired up for the first time tonight. And Karen Drake.
Well, as this game goes on, you wonder about the importance of that first drive by the Saskatchewan Roughriders when they had a couple of breaks, got down to the 4-yard line, then had a penalty and came away with just 3 points.
Yeah, and it was a procedure call, too. I mean,
Mistakes that shouldn't be happening.
Those are very, very costly. Stampeders on top. It's 7-3. It's Adidas Friday Night Football. And McMahon is full again. McMahon Stadium in Calgary. We'd like to welcome all our viewers who are watching the Canadiens and the Devils in NHL hockey in Quebec province tonight, and tell you that the Calgary Stampeders are on top of the Roughriders. It's 7-3. Rock Preston has the first touchdown of the evening.
Only one guy that could have made this tackle was Demetrius Maxey. Watch the block that Joe Fleming makes at the point of attack right there on Maxey. He shuts down that corner, allows Rock Preston the angle. He gets to the outside and gets in the end zone. You know, Joe Fleming at one point was a hockey player.
Yeah, he was. Was he drafted by St. Louis?
St. Louis Blues.
St. Louis Blues.
So there you go for all the hockey fans that are just joining us.
Demetrius Bendras had a big week returning for the Roughriders last week. Good return going here. He's out across the 35 to the 36. 22 on the return after the 57-yard kickoff. Rock Preston carried for 20 yards on that last drive. And finished it off with the 1-yarder.
There's the Fleming block we just talked about. And Scott Regenbald, too, at the point of attack also makes a nice block. But look at Joe Fleming to the top of your screen there. He was maintaining that block completely on Demetrius Maxey, and that allows Rock Preston to get in the end zone.
Rock Preston is in for Kelvin Anderson and into the end zone for the Calgary Stampeders on Adidas Friday Night Football.
Hey. Hey.
What?
You know that fair catch rule they have in American football?
Yeah, man, what about it?
Doesn't work here.
Lordy, lordy, lordy. Woo, help that boy.
Adidas Friday Night Football on TSN is brought to you by Adidas and by Molson Canadian. I am Canadian.
5, 4, 3, 2. Who's our winner? Black, congratulations. All right, Dwayne, you're coming back 29.
Hi, everyone. You know, Wally Buono, I was talking with him prior to the game. We were talking about the differences between Rock Preston and Kelvin Anderson. He said Kelvin Anderson is more of a running back who will run over you. He says Rock Preston is more of a guy that will kind of zig and zag and try to get around you, but it's really nothing that Wally Buono has had to change his offense around. He's been able to maintain the same offensive schemes with regards to his offense, no matter which running back is in. John?
All right.
Well, one thing he did tell me, too, is they obviously like to have both in the lineup to have that tandem there, but obviously injuries forced them to go with Rock Preston tonight.
On first down, Saskatchewan, Burris has his target, and the ball squirted loose.
Well, there's a couple of questions. Number one, was it incomplete pass? And number two,
was the guy.
Well, was it a pass behind the line of scrimmage, though, that was a lateral? And they're going to rule it as an incomplete forward pass. Because Bendras came back behind the line of scrimmage, and at first I thought that it could have been considered a lateral, and that's why Calgary was scrambling to knock it out of bounds, but the officials ruled otherwise. Incomplete pass.
2nd and 10. Roughriders at the 35. Burris looks to the far side, and he one-hopped that one, intending it for Fred Bailey. So Burris has struggled on a couple of possessions tonight, had an opportunity down inside the 10 for an early touchdown. Riders had to settle for a field goal. Now they'll kick it away.
Well, Danny Barrett just walks up to him, and we'll just quickly say that right guy to throw to, you just got to get it there. And it's a long throw to the wide field in cold weather, but Burris definitely has the arm to do it.
Riders go 2 and out twice in a row, and that's McCallum standing back near the 20-yard line. Marvin Coleman chased back. Returnable 16. has a little room, and it closes up quickly, leading the Saskatchewan tacklers. Derek Crete, 17 on the return.
Well, Paul McCallum, John, is putting a lot on these kicks, but he's kicking a low punt. And low punts are returnable because your cover team can't get down underneath it. So watch for Marvin Coleman to maybe take one before this game is over. A little more hang time out of Paul McCallum would help that Saskatchewan Rough Rider punt cover team.
And McCallum does have the wind at his back for the next 2 minutes and 10 seconds in the opening quarter. Stampeders drove for a touchdown the last time.
Look at the line of
Had his
scrimmage.
hands on the ball.
Look at the line of scrimmage. Everybody up there.
Out of the cover. Danielson made the catch. Stopped short of the first down near the 40.
And they're just, you know, Gary Echeverry is not changing a thing in his philosophy. He's putting everybody on the line of scrimmage and leaving those rookie DBs in one-on-one. And a lot of times when you're playing one-on-one in the secondary, you have to take inside position because it's the closer throw and it's the easier throw. And that's why we'll see the Calgary receivers continue to run quick out patterns on these young DBs.
Game of 7. This is 2nd and 3. Stampeders at the 41. Brock Preston nailed in the backfield, and another flag is down right on the line of scrimmage.
Muhammad Ali was right in there. And again, it looks like they're anticipating the snap count. They're back there so quickly. Demetrius Maxey's been calling a couple of offsides. And look how quickly Muhammad Ali is in the backfield. Preston takes the
Offside,
ball.
Saskatchewan. First down.
But he was cheating.
That's the 5th time that the Riders have been called for offside, and the 6th penalty. There were 5 penalties on the drive that Calgary got the touchdown on.
Well, that's just discipline penalties. Discipline penalties, too. You just, to have more discipline and watch the football on defense, know the snap count on offense. And Saskatchewan struggling with it now. You can tell in the face of Danny Barrett.
Are they lining up offside?
And just a look again, everybody on the line of scrimmage.
No flags that time. Reception made. Mark Boerichter has his first. And he was wrapped up by McCalla after a 7-yard gain.
You know, this time Gary Echeverry decides to drop some people out of there. Dickinson recognizes it, but once again, it's the quick out cuts. This time to Mark Boerichter, and talk about a guy who's had some big games against Saskatchewan. In week 2, he had 158 yards against them and a touchdown, and 2 weeks ago, 6 catches for 80 yards.
Yeah, coming into this game, he's 150 yards shy of 1,000 in his rookie season. Dickinson found Boerichter again, and Boerichter is rolled out far side inside Saskatchewan territory near the 52.
He wants a late hit call over there on Antoine Hunter, who was covering him, but Boerichter goes all the way across the field on the under pattern. Dickinson drops it off to him, and Antoine Hunter has to chase him all the way across. One of the toughest patterns to cover for a defensive back is running all the way across the field. What Antoine Hunter was hoping is that he would get some help out of Aaron Collins, number 47. You see him in the chase to the left of your screen. Aaron Collins needs to step up and cut off Boerichter and give Antoine Hunter a little help. And there they are on the line again. Look at him.
Another Stampeder first down. Should be last play of the opening quarter. Dickinson airs it out and goes about 7 yards too far for Travis Moore, number 83. No penalty markers down. That will end quarter number 1 with the Stampeders on top of the Roughriders by 4. It's 7-3 in Calgary.
Adidas Friday Night Football on TSN at the quarter. Brought to you by New Arctic Ice, the invigorating new fragrance of the Gillette series. It's beyond refreshing.
James Duffy back at TSN Football Control, and the folks in Calgary are just plain spoiled. Imagine having a quality running back like Kelvin Anderson go down and have Rock Preston just sitting there ready to go in. Other GMs and coaches throughout the league have to be envious.
Yeah, depth is the name of the game. And on more than one occasion since being named GM in Saskatchewan, Roy Shivers has tried to trade for Rock Preston. You understand now why, after watching the first quarter. You know, much of this Calgary talent is a result of Roy Shivers being having a great eye for talent. It's certainly frustrating for Saskatchewan fans tonight, but in time, it's going to be a big benefit for the program in green.
Matt, you talked off the top of the show about how Calgary was going to try and confuse Henry Burris with different looks on defense. How is Saskatchewan adjusting?
Well, they're countering with a great offensive philosophy. They're cutting the field in half for young Henry Burris. They're sprinting him on the corner. Henry Burris is simply just having to read half the defense. You see him play fake here to Darren Davis, then he gets out and around this way, completes the out to Gulliford, and he eliminates half this field, simplifying the game for him. This is a great counter move by Danny Barrett and the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
And you know, Matty, if they do that, they sprint him right, they sprint him left, that sets up this type of play, a single back set. You know, Chris Zarka, the quality fullback, is not playing. So you don't necessarily have to replace a player for a player. Sometimes you just kind of tinker with the offense. And in the single back set with Darren Davis, you attack the tackle box because now you have 5 receivers, which means one of those linebackers is out of that tackle box. If Darren Davis can make one of those linebackers blitz, where he does right there to Alondra Johnson, you're going to have a big game. Pretty smart. You run the kid at quarterback left, you run him right, and then you attack him right up the middle. Darren Davis is still an important part of this offense because they have to run the ball if they're going to be successful.
Plenty of signs that it is October. You have the coaches wearing toques. You have the players wearing gloves and turtlenecks, and Schulte has a cold. But you're a trooper and hanging in there, buddy. Let's send you back to Calgary.
Here's on next up after Q1 in Calgary. Time of possession is a big key.
Well, that's a big problem, too. Saskatchewan Roughriders did not get a first down after the first series of the first quarter. And that's going to wear down that defense in a hurry.
Second and 10, Calgary. And there's another first down for the Stampeders. Danielson made the catch and slid across the 30-yard line.
Good, strong throw by Dave Dickinson, and it's a timing pattern, and Dave Dickinson throws it right on time. Takes his drop back out of the shotgun, gets good protection up front, and then just steps in and throws a strike. Watch the protection, first of all. No one in Dave Dickinson's face. He has a good throwing lane and an open receiver. Pitch and catch.
And a 17-yard gain to send the Stampeders up inside the 30. Second catch of the evening for Vince Danielson. First down, Stampeders. This is Rock Preston. Nice little hole off left tackle behind Jay McNeil and Rocco Romano. Short of the first down, but decent production on first down for Preston, who has the only touchdown of the game.
Oh, Wally Buono thought that Gary Etcheverry would make some adjustments defensively from 2 weeks ago. It appears, at least in the first quarter, that he hasn't changed things up a whole lot. A lot of guys, a lot of pressure coming up front.
Second and 3, and a marker is down, penalty far side of the field. It was Rock Preston who should have the first down, or will have the first down if the penalty is against Saskatchewan.
Rock Preston a little slow to get up, but he looks okay.
Hey, how about this? Another sellout at McMahon Stadium in Calgary, or near it. We're still counting the last couple of hundred heads rolling into McMahon Stadium.
Offside, Saskatchewan, first down.
It is quite a success story here. The Calgary Stampeders and what they have done. Over 30,000 they've averaged. That includes a preseason game. And when the Riders are in town, the crowd swells.
14 of the last 16 home games for the Stampeders here at McMahon have been plus 35,000. So you're in football country when you're in southern Alberta. Stampeders first down. Dickinson behind his intended receiver, Travis Moore. And someone spun the wrong way.
Well, it looked like there was some indecision in Travis Moore's part. He was going down the field, and I think Dave Dickinson was thinking of throw behind. And what I mean by that is to throw it to the back of the receiver and have him come back to the football. But Moore wasn't sure if he was going to throw it up high. See, the ball was thrown behind him, and it looked like Moore had some indecision. He's running down the field thinking it's going to go deep to the corner. Dickinson threw it in behind him.
Yeah, a huge play here coming up for the Saskatchewan defense on 2nd and 10 for the Stampeders. Dickinson gets some heat, and he's wrapped up at the 25-yard line. First sack of the evening, and that goes to George White, number 38.
Well, you see how tough it is for the voters and how tough it will be for the voters in Saskatchewan. George White just recorded his 3rd sack of the season. He's second in the Canadian Football League in tackles to Terry Ray from Edmonton, and he's been in first for the majority of the season. Comes off the corner untouched. Jamie Crysdale can't get there to pick up that blitz, and White records his 3rd sack of the year. It's going to be tough when they have to nominate a rookie.
Yeah, it's obviously between number 38, George White, and number 88, Curtis Marsh, for Saskatchewan's Rookie of the Year for the Chrysler Awards. McLaughlin's field goal is flagged down. So I don't know if the Riders moved again. Oh.
Calgary number 13.
There's a change.
Well, they'll make him kick it again anyway. And that was just a fact that Dave Dickinson was up there counting the players to make sure he had everyone on the field, and by the time he was finished counting, he'd run out of time to kick that field goal.
McLaughlin has made 33 of 40 so far this year.
But that's something you definitely want to make sure you have straight, that there's the right number of people out there.
This from the 35, and he puts it right down the pipe. Stampeders add another 3 for a 1-touchdown lead. First visit here in 2000. Riders have been a long time between wins in this ballpark. In fact, number 27
yeah,
was playing the last time they won here. 1989. That was your Grey Cup year. That's the year of the Immaculate Hold. When you put it down for Ridgeway in the Grey Cup game.
Well, that year, and that was the last year, like you mentioned, that they won a regular season game, Saskatchewan, and it was an important game in '89. Got us in the playoffs, I believe.
October 29, 1989.
It's a long time.
Last time the green and white won here. But the Riders are in good shape here after a roughing penalty. They get to begin this sequence at the 50, but there's nowhere to run. Only 2 yards there.
Hey, John, Henry Burris is on pace, we mentioned, to throw for more touchdowns than any Saskatchewan Rough Rider quarterback in the team's history. The guy who holds the record right now is Kent Austin. He
did 35.
35 in 1992, but Henry Burris, who has 28 on the season so far, needs one, and he needs one on this drive.
Yeah, he really could use a touchdown. Riders really stalled in their opening drive. They got inside the 10 and came away with 3. So this on 2nd and 8, and Burris lost the ball. And whether the Riders got it back or not, we'll have to unpile here. I'm not sure they did, but
I don't think they did.
Ray Jacobs is signaling Calgary ball.
Well, it was in the shotgun. It looked like Henry Burris was looking down the field at the coverage. There is a penalty flag on the field as well.
Yeah, after the fact, Darrell Hall has the football right now, and a marker came down.
Well, when Burris was looking down at the coverage, the ball came in low in the shotgun, and then it got caught in the feet of Dion Tyler. And Burris couldn't find the handle.
Unnecessary roughness after the play. Calgary 29. First down.
So back-to-back roughing calls against the Stampeders, but they do get the ball out of this.
Well, there it is. You see, the ball was down in the feet of Dion Tyler. Henry Burris couldn't come up with it. I'm not sure who finally did for Calgary, but Andy Davis was the guy who got the penalty. But it was after the fact, so it was Darrell Hall fumble recovery, and Calgary takes the football.
Yeah, Darrell Hall recovered it. He came to the sideline with the ball. Stampeders are moved back, but they do have the ball, 1st and 10. And this drive will begin at the Calgary 53. So the Riders in great shape a second ago. In trouble again. Big trouble here. Oh, Travis Moore laid out and couldn't quite bring that one off.
Well, he had it all. Dave Dickinson had blitz coverage. He had the right call. He had the right receiver run into the hole. And Travis Moore, look, no safety in the middle. No safety in the middle means someone's got to go to the middle, and it's Travis Moore right down the hole. He's going down Main Street. Dave Dickinson just throws it out in front of him. He can't find the handle. If Dickinson throws that a yard shorter, Travis Moore's in the end zone, and he knows it.
2nd and 10, Stampeders.
2nd and 10, Stampeders.
Calgary on top of Saskatchewan, 10-3. We're early in quarter 2 at McMahon.
Here they come again.
Big pressure on Dickinson. He won't get it away.
Oh, Alan Pitts is wide open, and Dickinson can't get it away. That is pressure defense. And we talked about Gary Echeverry's philosophy already. That's pressure defense. Send one more than they can block and hope he gets there before Dickinson can find his receiver.
Well, it's also high-risk defense at times.
It certainly is, because Alan Pitts at the bottom of your screen is open. Dickinson wants to load it up. He sees him there, and look at that. Just can't get it off. It's all timing. Timing is everything.
Dickinson has been close a couple of times. Gulliford drops deep. Martino will step across his 35 to get a high kick away. Eric Gulliford at the 10. Got one block. Nice little seam, and he's out to the 32. Very decent return down the short side for 21 yards for Eric Gulliford. Riders are down by... Riders down by a touchdown to the Calgary Stampeders. Saskatchewan begins at the 32. It's time to get this offense rolling. And not a bad beginning for Burris there as he connected with Eric Gulliford, number 84.
Well, John, one of the names we haven't talked about in that offense is Curtis Marsh. You know, we talked about him in the opening. He's a guy that they've got to get the football to, and he's been quiet so far.
He's been quiet the last couple of weeks.
He's got the goose egg so far tonight.
4 for 41 against Calgary 2 weeks ago. 7 for 76 in the last 2 weeks.
You know, and talk about rookie candidates. Well, the Calgary Stampeders, of course, have Mark Boerichter, but they also have a great season out of rookie Anthony Pryor on the corner. And when you talk about Curtis Marsh, who has not played well and didn't 2 weeks ago against Calgary, you have to give credit to the rookie Anthony Pryor, because that's the leading receiver in the CFL right now. And 2 weeks ago held him to 4 catches for 41 yards, and that's a raw rookie.
And last week, just 3 receptions for 35 against Winnipeg. So it's been a bit of a drought for Curtis Marsh. 2nd and 10. Here comes the charge, and Prayers has him wrapped up Burris. He lost the ball. And we're looking at other markers down there. Penalty flags are down.
Greg Prayers is having a career year, and the smile says it all. He gets the blitz about 3 or 4 times a game, and it often works just like this. It opens up parts.
It was wide open, wasn't it?
And there he goes straight in on Henry Burris. Burris has no chance to get rid of that football. 6 interceptions on the season, 2 for touchdowns, and he's provided some pressure at times as well.
And he's watching the out-of-town score clock tonight here in Calgary. Greg Prayers. Marvin Coleman wrapped up after a 2-yard return. Prayers from Simon Fraser, one of a couple of Simon Fraser guys, watching the annual Shrum Bowl game with some interest in this one tonight.
Well, here you go.
Yeah, UBC guys against SFU guys.
Kent Ring, that's SFU.
Yep.
Jason Clement, SFU. And then, of course, Greg Frères down there, SFU. And then there's UBC here. That's Vince Danielson. And up here, number 1.
Well, why are you putting X's?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Did you notice that?
Check marks on the Simon Fraser guys.
But it's interesting for the Calgary guys because the Shrum Bowl is going on right now back in Vancouver. And the Calgary guys have a bet. And the loser of the bet has to wear the other guy's team colors all week. Oh. So if UBC loses the game in the Shrum Bowl tonight, and we will try and update you on the scores of that game.
Oh, yeah, you're watching.
I've got a little interest in that as well. And so if UBC loses, then Vince Danielson will have to wear SFU garb for the entire week here in Calgary.
And vice versa. Those SFU guys would look pretty cool in blue and gold, I think.
Well, that's how it's going to go. So in basically every locker room across the Canadian Football League, there's bets going on right now.
Both schools have contributed a lot of talent to this league. A little high, or was it? It looked high for Danielson as it went through his fingers, and then Aubrey Cummings actually had a shot at it.
Yeah, and I don't think Aubrey Cummings or Vince Danielson are sure which one they were supposed to see the football. That looked like it just a bit over Danielson and a bit under Aubrey Cummings, but Adolphus McCullough makes a nice play, and they're going to need some big plays out of that young secondary. We talked about it all game long, but Those guys have got to step up against a veteran receiving corps here in Calgary.
Well, here's the good news for the Roughriders so far. They are hanging in. They're down by a touchdown in spite of the fact that the offense has not moved the ball efficiently so far tonight. So it's only a 7-point game with 7:43 till halftime. But the Saskatchewan defense has had to make some big plays. Eric Gulliford across the 25 to about the 27, and it's time for Henry Burris and the Saskatchewan Roughriders to get a move on. It's Adidas Friday Night Football live from a sold-out McMahon in Calgary.
You were going to ask me that, and I can't help you. I couldn't help you through the Olympics. I can't help you now.
You're not much help. Basically what I found out. Here's Burris. Almost intercepted as it deflected off a couple of players, and Greg Freres had an opportunity down there.
It is incomplete.
Burris is off his game a bit tonight.
Well, you got to give credit to the veterans for the Calgary defense. Greg Freres has made some plays. Alondra Johnson had a chance at that football. Greg Freres is the captain of that secondary, and it's a veteran secondary playing very well, playing their best football in the last 3 weeks.
Now, in fairness to Burris,
there he is.
He doesn't have much of a running game to threaten the Stampeders with yet. Curtis Marsh has his first catch of the night. It's a big one. Saskatchewan has 12 yards on across the 42. So Burris to Marsh finally clicks.
Curtis Marsh, the first Rider receiver over 1,000 yards since Don Narcisse did it back in 1998. And when you look at Eric Gulliford, who was very close coming in, he's about 160 yards short of 1,000 coming into this game. If the two of them get over 1,000, which they likely will, it'll be the first time since '94 that two receivers were over 1,000.
Narcisse and Elgard that year.
That's right.
Henry Burris, but flags are down as Burris slides into Calgary territory near the 50. And this might be coming back.
Well, tremendous fake that pulled Alondra Johnson is the reason the play worked, but who was holding on the play? Because I believe that's what the call will be.
Holding, Saskatchewan number 68.
Thank you very much.
Repeated.
Andrew Green.
Well, it was a real nice fake to create the play, and Andrew Green will nullify it.
Again, the Riders are making adjustments along the offensive line with John Terry out.
See, Burris put it right in the hands of Deon Tyler and took it out again and then ran off on his own. Andrew Green gets a big play called back.
Back to the Riders.
Andrew Green is in the same spot he's played all year. It's Jeremy O'Day and James Monroe that have made the adjustments.
Another flag down. Marsh made the catch, but it had been whistled down. So what have we got this time?
Illegal procedure, Saskatchewan 54. First down.
Wow, it's procedure and offside calls for Danny Barrett's Saskatchewan Roughriders have been a big problem in this first half, and they truly need to get some points in this first half because the Roughriders are 0-6 when they trail at halftime.
Yeah, 7 offsides so far and 2 procedure calls. One cost them a chance at the touchdown in the opening drive when the Riders settled for a field goal. So this is first in a whole bunch. The little screen pass is a little too high, and Tyler couldn't bring it in. Deon Tyler, Dwayne Demetrician, Dylan Ching, all starting tonight, and they weren't starters last week.
No, I mentioned
Ching is in for Farthing, Tyler for Davis, and Demetrician for Zarka.
I mentioned it earlier. Deon Tyler just playing 5 games this year, started in the first 5. His best game was week 2 versus BC, where he was close to 100 yards rushing on 13 carries, had 96 on the day, has a couple of touchdowns, but hasn't played for a while.
This is 2nd and 25. And Burris wrapped up in a hurry. Shante Peoples, number 56, had him cornered and dragged him down.
Sometimes the best offense you can have is a good defense, and that time the Saskatchewan Roughriders in that series were going backwards. Shante Peoples at the top of your screen. He gets the matchup he wants. He starts out with Dwayne Demetrician, who is the backup fullback with Chris Zark out. He throws Demetrician out of the way. Andrew Green can't pick him up, and he gets his 9th sack of the season.
So the Riders gave up penalty yardage, and when they turn the ball over to the Stampeders, it will be an excellent field position. Calgary will undoubtedly be on Saskatchewan's side of the 55. McCallum, there was a charge on, and McCallum had to rush it a bit. A little bit of a break on the bounce there to Coleman, who had nowhere to return, and just steps out on the far side. So 0 on the return. Pretty good kick of 44 yards for McCallum into the wind, and Dave Dickinson licks his chops again as he looks at that Saskatchewan secondary.
Well, when he looks at what he did in the first quarter and what he's done in this second quarter, I know he's going to go back to Travis Moore. You remember Travis Moore was very close down the middle. If the Riders continue to blitz, continue to leave no safety in the middle and leave the young secondary in one-on-one, it'll be Travis Moore again that will go on that post pattern.
Stampeders from the 49. Dickinson with time, and he fired low. Alan Pitts couldn't come up with it. Pitts with 780 yards receiving coming into this game. A slower start to the season for Pitts in some ways, but he's played well recently and has 3 for 22 tonight.
Hey, you mentioned 2 weeks ago when he tore up the Riders secondary.
Yeah, he did. 173 yards that game. Aubrey Cummings flanks to the near side. Dickinson looks in his direction and then goes under the cover. Travis Moore couldn't bring it down.
Well, that was a case of just beating yourself more than anything, because the Calgary Stampeders had the open man. Moore was there. Marcus McDavid was about a step and a half behind. Just dropped the football. And it was right at the first down marker. Again, it's the outcut, because in man-to-man, you got to play that inside position consistently, and Marcus McDavid can't get there until late, but Dave Dickinson wants a catch on that. That's the competitive side of Dave Dickinson.
2 and out for the Stampeders this time, so the Rider defense has made some plays. Eric Gulliver deep for Saskatchewan, standing near his 15. Martino is under it, and he got a bit of a charge that time from Tunkara. There are 7 Stampeders surrounding the Saskatchewan return guy. Eric Gulliver, 13 yards, and the Riders, Henry Burris, will try and get it going again. Saskatchewan down by a touchdown, 3:31 till halftime. 30% for Burris thus far.
Not typical Burris numbers. In the press conference yesterday, Wally Buono, Burris's former coach, said he thinks that Henry Burris should be considered as a candidate for the most valuable player in the league. He obviously feels that Dave Dickinson is the front runner, like most people do across the country, but he thinks that Henry Burris should get some votes. High praise from his former coach.
Certainly is. Here's Burris standing in against the Heat. Gulliver got one hand on it, that's all.
But he can't get on track tonight, and part of the reason is the front four for the Calgary Stampeders. Shante Peoples has a sack. Joe Fleming has been providing constant pressure. They're getting a good push, and they're getting it with just these guys up front. Just 4 on the rush. Look at the push right in the middle of your screen on 2 guys from Joe Fleming. You see how he's pushed that whole line of scrimmage right back into Henry Burris' face.
I'm not sure the Stampeders care much about the Saskatchewan running game at this point. Oh, boy. Bad snap. Burris will have to claim it, and he bats it out of the end zone.
That'll be a safety.
2 points for the Calgary Stampeders. And there's a new center playing in for Jeremy O'Day. James Monroe was listed as the starting center, and more errors haunting the Saskatchewan Roughriders. 3 minutes to halftime. It's Adidas Friday Night Football from Calgary. Miscue haunting the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
Well, the bad snap goes over Henry Burris' hands, but a pretty heads-up play to knock it out of the back of the end zone and just give up 2 points. Could have been worse.
Here's the ensuing kickoff. Marvin Coleman has a seam up the near side. McCallum tries to slow him down, and he does enough to be caught from behind by Sean Gallants. But a huge return for Marvin Coleman. The kickoff 60, the return 50.
Boy, did he get a seam. Sometimes the runner is the guy who creates the big return, and sometimes it's the blocking scheme. That time, it was blocking, because he gets a nice seam right down this sideline and hits it. Watch the seam created. Alondra Johnson with a kick out.
McCallum gets over there to slow him down just a little bit. That helped in the tackle.
Ken Ring at SFU got a little bit of a block.
Stampeders are set up at the Saskatchewan 40. Catch is made, but there's nowhere to run for Travis Moore. As Morgan came up and gave him a hug.
Yeah, well,
they tackle him.
Well, they're up on the line of scrimmage now, and when they're all up on the line of scrimmage and you got 8 people in the box and your defensive backs playing bump and run coverage right up on the line, plays like that aren't going to be very successful. Because that's where the guys are all lined up. How you can beat them is going over top of them.
Stampeders are dominating. And now lead at 12-3. This is 2nd and 12. Dickinson with all kinds of time. Here's the charge now. Dickinson takes the hit, got it away, and couldn't connect with Travis Moore, 83, who got in between the coverage.
But it took a long time, and it took a long time for Moore to get on the other side of the field. Alan Pitts and Mark Bollrichter are going to come down, and they do a nice job of blocking. See Pitts at the bottom of the screen. He's right there, picks up George White. Bollrichter comes down to help, but it took Moore so long to get all the way across the field that Dickinson just couldn't put enough on that football and couldn't be accurate enough with the throw, and he took a big hit as he released his football from Omar Morgan, the corner. Look at that.
So again, another pretty good play by the Saskatchewan defense to force the Stampeders to kick it back to them. With 2:13 to go till halftime. Gulliford is near the 10. Martino at his 49. Charge was on. Gulliford had to step out. He was forced to the near side, and there was only room for about a 4-yard return.
Well, it was a big play, though, by Gulliford to catch the football in the air. He had to really track it down, and you know, he's got the ball basically on the 19-yard line simply because he caught it. If he lets that ball hit, it could be a lot worse for Saskatchewan as far as field position goes.
Yeah, and only a 34-yard punt that time. So the Riders have 2:07 to try and make, well, to the Stampeder end zone.
Yeah, and at halftime, I can tell you right now that Danny Barrett is just going to talk about the mistakes, procedure calls, the offside calls, the forced snaps. That's really been the problem for Saskatchewan this first half.
The running game simply isn't there for the Roughriders in the second big play. Last couple of sequences for Shante Peoples, who was waiting for the Rough Rider running back, Dion Tyler.
More problems for the front 5 for Saskatchewan. We talked about the changes. They simply cannot handle the front 4 for the Calgary Stampeders right now. And Shante Peoples came off that left side, and that's where Jeremy O'Day has been forced to play tackle with James Monroe in the center. Yeah, and again, there's problems up there. They are
3 flags.
They're just out of sync in that offensive line. It's a difficult situation always when you lose one of your starters, especially in the secondary or the offensive line. 2 spots on the field that you really have to be playing together. But when one
illegal procedure, Saskatchewan 67, still second down.
Yeah, that's Dan Comiskey, and he's a regular at right guard.
But when you lose John Terry and you have to make 2 other changes because of it, with Jeremy O'Day out to tackle and then James Monroe back over to center, you've really got 3 changes in that front 5 now from one injury.
Second and a whole bunch. Burris looks for the big play and didn't miss it by all that much. Marsh was the target, but maybe Eddie Davis didn't miss the interception by much either.
Well, what they're trying to do is move Curtis Marsh around a little bit on the field. See the move he puts on Jack Kellogg. Marsh has had trouble getting open. He does have a bit of a step, but it would have to have been a perfect throw simply because Greg Frères, the safety, had read the throwing motion of Henry Burris and was right there to help out over top of Curtis Marsh.
So 2 and out again for the Rough Riders. And they'll kick from deep in their own zone. About as deep as you can get without being in the end zone. And wisely, they'll give up a couple here.
Well, it's either 2 or 3. because of the field position they would have had. But, you know, at the beginning, you talk about the mistakes this Saskatchewan offense has made. We talked about at the beginning, there's two guys that they've had, despite the changes, that have had to see the football in this game, and that was Curtis Marsh, who we saw miss on that long one, and Demetris Bendros. Look what they've done tonight.
Pretty close to zero between them.
Yeah.
15 yards.
And when your two big-time, big-play players are not seeing the football, and you've got all those other injuries to deal with, you've got some problems. But it all starts up front, and that's right now where the mistakes are being made. And
that's where the glaring errors are coming right now. But I don't think the Roughriders have any real threat of a running game with the adjustments that they've had to make with Zark out and also with Darren Davis out.
Well, and now, you know, now they're behind, but there's still lots of football left to play. And Danny Barrett just has to go in at halftime and tell the guys the good news is that we're still in the football game. We've made enough mistakes that it should be a huge blowout by now. It's not.
11 points is not insurmountable. They really have to stop the Stampeders from getting 6 here, though, on this final drive of the opening half. And well, certainly lots of time for Dickinson to move his team into scoring range.
It was a very good move to give up that safety at that point, because, you know, Dave Dickinson looking at, you know, one play before he's in field goal range after a punt from way back there. So they give up the 2 rather than the 3, or worse, the 6 or 7, and they'll kick the football off.
Across the 25, across the 35, into the 40-yard line. Not always that flashy, but this guy does a great job, doesn't he? Well, on returning kicks, Marvin Coleman, 19 yards there.
Has he ever? I mean, you look at his kickoff return average at just shy of 20 yards on the season. His punt return average just over 10 yards. Every time he touches the ball on a punt, he gets a first down with it. Every time he touches it on a kickoff return, he gets 2 first downs.
And he's taken one back all the way for a punt return touchdown this season. Stampeders have a minute 30 to reach the Saskatchewan goal line. Dickinson brings it down, and now Dickinson is wrapped up. Sacked for the 3rd time, and for the 2nd time by Sheldon Napustuk, who took a couple of offside calls early, but he's got a couple of sacks so far.
Well, they're trying to time the snap count. That time they timed it right. Sheldon Napustuk gets in there and gets his sack.
Rider defense has made some big plays tonight. Well, I mean, when you're looking at Calgary now facing 2nd and 20, we're in that neighborhood.
But John, that's the nature of this defense. When you're running a pressure defense like Gary Echeverry is running, you live by the sword and die by it.
And that time, he lived by it. But Dickinson finds room to escape. He'll be stopped short of the first down, however, tackled from behind.
Well, you know, now
as he moved in there, Maxey makes the stop.
Now the Saskatchewan Roughriders have time to put some points on the board.
You know, a chance for 3 anyway.
Well, absolutely. So you think back to that safety. Now you get a 2-and-out from your defense.
And if you get 3, it's a 5-point flip about, right?
That's right. You still have, yeah, 5-point flip about.
What's funny about that?
Well, I don't know, flip about. I've never really heard that, but okay.
I don't know the proper English.
But I'm going with you. I'm with you.
Could have been turnabout. Well, it is flip about. I don't think it's completely incorrect.
I think that's how they say it in Australia. We've been talking kind of about that in the Olympics. A flip about. All right.
Yeah, okay. Muzzle it. So Martino standing inside his 30 to kick this away. Still looking for results on that Shrum Bowl out in Vancouver tonight between Simon Fraser and UBC.
I'll make some calls at halftime.
Yeah, I'd really like to know. SFU won it in 1999.
Time count violation. Calgary number 11. Still 3rd down.
UBC won the Shrum Bowl in 1998. It's named for the late Dr. Gordon Shrum, who founded the football program at UBC in 1925. And once he got it right, he drove over to Burnaby and started Simon Fraser University, which became a university in 1965. So the honor is to the late Gordon Shrum. And it's a terrific football atmosphere when you get those 2 Vancouver universities going head-to-head every year, and they just play each other one time a year.
That's right, and did ever fun in that building at that time. It's in Thunderbird Stadium at UBC this year.
Here's Eric Gulliford. What a return would do for the Roughriders' hopes, but he only comes up with 12 yards, and 51 seconds are on the clock.
Well, that's plenty of time. I mean, that's lots of time. You don't even have to force the ball really down the field. But both defenses playing pretty well here tonight.
Is that correct there? That's not a typographical error there?
19 yards, not a lot of offense for Saskatchewan. But you know what? For the way Calgary Stampeders offensively have played this year, 100 is not a lot for them and a half.
No, and looking at the scoreboard, the Roughriders can take a little solace in the fact that they're down by 11. Nice fake by Burris, and he'll have a first down. Dwayne Demetrician out across the 50. So, well, 46 seconds till halftime.
Started with 51 seconds. That play right there to Demetrician, who turns around right there in the curl zone. That play took 5 seconds to run. All you need is about 6 of those plays.
From the shotgun, Stampeders are coming. He got it away again. And Tyler makes the first down. Deon Tyler with his biggest play of the game out across midfield and into Calgary territory.
It's such a luxury for a defensive coordinator, and talking right now about Mike Roach here in Calgary, to be able to just rush 4 and get the pressure that Calgary can get with just 4 guys rushing. You can do so much coverage-wise when you can get pressure with 4 guys.
Tyler again, and he'll be very close to the first down. We'll see where they spot it. The virtual first down line looked like he crossed it.
You know, and it's basically comes down to simple math. If you can get pressure with 4, that leaves you 8 to cover 4 receivers. So basically you can almost double team across the board, just to simplify it completely. On the other hand, Saskatchewan, who plays a blitzing defense, leaves 4 back there to cover 4 receivers, because they put everybody up on the line of scrimmage, and that's how they have to get pressure. So it gives you a luxury of rushing 4 and doing a lot in coverage if you can do it.
They're moving the sticks. 20 seconds till halftime. Stampeders have an 11-point lead. The Riders are closing in on field goal range in the dying seconds of the opening half. Burris will have to get off a couple of plays in a hurry, however. Here's the charge. Burris unloads, and he's behind Eric Gulliford with 8 seconds to go.
Well, they need a 10-yarder at least, and they have time for 2 plays if they're quick, but it's got to be a pattern to the outside.
Out of bounds in a hurry.
And they got to get down. I mean, you know, you want to continue to try and get that extra yard, but if a Saskatchewan receiver can come up with a catch here, he needs to get it and get down in a hurry to give Paul McCallum a chance at a field goal.
2nd and 10, Saskatchewan. Riders need a first down here. Low snap. Burris makes it work, and he's got Gulliford. Gulliford is down with 4 seconds on the clock, so the Riders get within range.
And they'll send in the field goal team right now.
Now, that's as good as the Rider offense looked in the entire first half, but Calgary was laying off a little bit, I would think, into the dying few moments here.
Now, Paul McCallum goes to kick this field goal 1 for 1 tonight from 16 yards. Heading into this game, 15 of his last 16. The only one he missed in the last 7 games was a 50-yarder against Calgary 2 weeks ago. And this is going to be about a 45-yarder.
Again, his longest on the season is 53. He's going into a slight breeze here.
So something positive if McCallum can make this.
Yeah, this is a huge play for Saskatchewan.
It really is. It's something positive they take in at halftime, get a little bit of momentum, and they can correct some mistakes on that offensive line. They're still in this football game.
Ching will put it down on the 45. It's wide this time. And the Stampeders will run it out with no time left in the first half. Out to the late at 14-3 at halftime. Let's bring in Ray Morrison from the other side.
Danny Barrett joins me. Danny, tell me a little bit about that first half, some struggles offensively.
All I see is the Orange Hankies going one way. I don't know about the struggles and everything. It's hard when you're playing a good team in their ballpark, 2nd and long situations on calls that we don't see and everything. But at the same time, it's a good football game. We're in it to the end.
Thank you, Danny.
11 penalties for the Saskatchewan Roughriders in the first half, and that really hurt some chances and actually cost them the opportunity to score on the first possession.
Well, no question. And it was a lot of the penalties up front on the offensive line. They had some procedure calls, some bad snaps from a new center in James Monroe. So lots of problems for Saskatchewan. Danny Barrett seemed to sound like he was thinking that there was a lot of flags going his way and not too many going the home team's way, but they were making mistakes up front, no question about it.
Penalties a big part of the problem, but the quarterback had some difficulties for Saskatchewan too. Henry Burris has a few regrettable moments, like right there.
Well, that one is was looking down the field and he dropped it. It got in between Dion Tyler. That was a bad snap over his head.
Heads up by Burris to bat it through.
Had to give up the safety there, so he gave up 2 points on bad snaps there and tons of field position. And then there was a bunch of procedure calls that put Danny Barrett in 2nd and long. And he talked about getting some penalties that hurt him. Those were the ones that hurt you. 2nd and long is a tough situation to convert in.
Now, not an insurmountable lead for the Calgary Stampeders at this stage of things. 11 points and a half of football to go.
Well, that's
Calgary's offense had struggles too.
Well, that's the good news for Danny Barrett, is that they're not out of it. They've made some mistakes, but they're not out of it, and they're in striking range. And you're absolutely right. On the other sideline, Dave Dickinson was not at his best in the first half. Not typical Dave Dickinson numbers when you think of how he's played, especially over the last 3 weeks.
Henry Burris, 6 of 16. No touchdowns, no interceptions. I guess the no INTs. Part of a good part of the Saskatchewan story. Dickinson, 11 of 20, 91 yards. Not his typical night either.
Well, Dickinson was inches away from some big plays. Think of one to Travis Moore in the 3rd quarter. It would have been huge. That would have changed those numbers in a big way.
Demetrius Bendros, 2nd half is underway. Nice move by Bendros. This could be a superb return. He's out across the 50-yard line. So Bendros again sets Saskatchewan up with good field position to begin the opening drive of a half. 33 on the return, and out at midfield, the Riders can swing it right back. As far as momentum is concerned here, if they can get something going offensively.
Exactly the way they started the game. They had a Calgary penalty and ended up starting their drive to start the football game in about the exact same spot that they'll start this 2nd half. Now, in the first half, they came away with a field goal. Won't be good enough this time.
No, it won't be. Stamps leading 14-3. 1st and 10, Saskatchewan. Burris, far side. And that was a little low for Fred Bailey.
Was either low for Fred Bailey or high for Demetrius Bendros.
Take your pick. Was it right in the middle?
It was right in the middle, and they were in the same line, which tells me that they were possibly an error from the receiving corps. Fred Bailey getting a chance to play with all the injuries in that offense for Saskatchewan.
Basically listed as a 5th receiver for Saskatchewan.
Started the year in Edmonton, played 3 games there, and then picked off their practice roster by the Riders.
2nd and 10, Burris has Gulliford. Huge first down for Saskatchewan inside the 45 of Calgary.
Tremendous vision from Henry Burris to be moving to his right and have the presence of mind to look back. He's going to end up being flushed out this way, and when he does, he takes a quick check back, and there's Eric Gulliford across the middle. He stayed composed with bullets flying all over the place and threw a strike for a first down.
16 yards. Another Saskatchewan first down. There haven't been many thus far tonight. Tyler for a couple. Dion Tyler.
Shante Peoples played that one perfectly. He was really in a tough situation because Shante Peoples had to try and contain Henry Burris should he run with the football. He's going to be out to the right of your screen here. Contain Henry Burris there and slide down and make the tackle on Dion Tyler. And if he doesn't make that tackle, it's another 10 yards before Tyler gets to Greg Freyers. Big play from Shante Peoples.
7th carry for Tyler. He has 51 yards. Almost intercepted, but there's a penalty marker down in the Stampeders secondary. So I think number 1 for Saskatchewan, Henry Burris, is right as he says,
yeah,
we're moving the sticks.
Well, they may be, but Eddie Davis is thinking.
Illegal contact on the receiver. Calgary number 29.
Well, it was on Eddie Davis, so even if he intercepts that, he can't believe it. He was looking at the end zone. And that ball went straight through his hands, but he had the illegal contact prior to the break on the football.
So the second half starts out well for the Roughriders, just like the first half did. Riders are inside the 30-yard line. Another first down. Swings it to Tyler, sliding out. And he's barely back to the line of scrimmage, wrapped up by Darrell Hall.
We talked about the play, John, in the first half of Anthony Pryor, the rookie on the corner that has really taken Curtis Marsh out of 2 games now. 2 weeks ago and this game so far tonight. Anthony Pryor makes a huge play there. He got underneath a big block that was trying to be thrown by James Monroe. When he shot underneath it, made a tackle for almost no gain.
The
gain is a yard. It'll be 2nd and 9 of the Stampeder 27. Burris shotgun. Time to throw. And on the money. Inside the 15 for Eric Gulliford. So Gulliford has been a huge part of this drive for Saskatchewan.
The way that the Calgary Stampeders are choosing to try and stop Curtis Marsh is to bring Anthony Pryor up. In other words, roll the corner up into bump and run coverage on Curtis Marsh. What that will do, however, is drop off the halfback Jack Kellogg. So Eric Gulliford should start to get some more room as this game progresses.
Just nicely into the 3rd quarter, Gulliford has 64 yards. Big catches on this drive. First down, Saskatchewan, and Curtis Marsh breaks 1 tackle. He's inside the 5. A little shy of the first down.
Like the first half, the Saskatchewan Roughriders on the opening drive of the half come all the way down to the 4-yard line. Here's a little slant move by Curtis Marsh. Once again, they're on the 4. Now remember, this is where they got the procedure call in the first series of this game that made them settle for a field goal.
2nd down, about a yard to go. So the Riders can get a first down without a touchdown. Burris looks to the end zone. He has Marsh, and he couldn't bring it down. Pryor was covering.
Oh, and he had Gulliford too wide open. I mean, Marsh had a chance. Eric Gulliford would have been a guarantee. And Henry Burris hasn't seen a lot of this kind of coverage from Calgary. It was just straight bump and run one-on-one. And there's the move from Curtis Marsh. So he does have some room, about a step. The ball's thrown a little bit behind him, and he can't come up with it.
Yeah, a decent recovery by Pryor there.
Yeah, and in the middle of the field, Eric Gulliford is wide open.
3rd down, a long yard to go. The Saskatchewan Roughriders go gambling here. Burris takes it back, fires for the touchdown.
There's his first.
Dylan Ching has his first professional touchdown.
Number 22, Dylan Ching.
And a huge week for the Riders. Last time against Winnipeg, 6 receptions, 163 yards. Had a touchdown all wrapped up in that game and had it poked away from behind. So he was heading to the end zone last week. This week, he's in and makes the catch.
And now he'll hold for the extra point.
So the Roughriders get right back in it with a solid opening drive to begin the second half. And Dylan Ching has his first CFL touchdown. Riders have closed to within 4 of the Calgary Stampeders on Adidas Friday Night Football. Roughriders woke up to begin the second half. Dylan Ching has his first CFL major on a reception from Henry Burris.
Well, they finished the drive, and Dylan Ching takes advantage of the inside position. Look how far Eddie Davis is inside. Way inside there, and when he breaks to the out, he's got about a 2-yard cushion on Davis for the touchdown.
And he made sure of the catch, didn't he? Stampeders still lead it, but only by 4 now. Coleman. Nice return out to the 35. And that was the Roughriders' best drive of the night without question. 9 plays to cover 57 yards. Ching finishes it off with a 4-yard catch in the 3rd down gamble.
Yeah.
4-yard paid off.
Yeah,
No choice there at that point, though, in reality, at the 4-yard line, right?
Well, there you always want to come away with points, and if they don't get any points on the 4-yard line, it's a big turning point.
I'm saying it was a brilliant call.
Well, it is now. It is now. Dickinson and the Stampeders look to respond to the Saskatchewan touchdown.
And more markers down. Danny Barrett was a little upset at the number of penalties his team took in the opening half, figuring it was just a little one-sided.
Illegal procedure, Calgary 59. Still first down.
Maybe they'll start to balance out a little bit here.
A little more balance to begin the second half. First and 15, Stampeders push back inside the 30 at the 29 now.
There's no safety in the middle. Now he's dropping out of there.
Allen Pitts gets back and across the original line of scrimmage for a 6-yard gain. So the Stampeders get a little bit back.
Well, again, out patterns for the Calgary Stampeders all game long. And again, it's because all game long the Riders are meant to see the inside position by Antoine Hunter. He has to be in there to take away the middle of the field. So Pitts just goes and catches that quick out pattern.
Stampeders looking at 2nd and 9.
They'll do it again.
Dickinson near side. Has Moore made the catch, but he won't get the first down. He couldn't escape. Wrapped up by a couple of Roughriders.
Yeah, Andrew Henry, the extra defensive back, flew over there and made a great open field tackle on Travis Moore. He would have had to make up about 8 yards, and there was pursuit coming, but Andrew Henry didn't let him go.
So at times, the Rough Rider defense has been rather stingy tonight.
They've played well. They've played well enough to keep them in it.
Well, it definitely ended it because 14-10.
With the mistakes they made in the first half, it shouldn't be close.
Martino got a little bit of a rush. Eric Gulliford draws a marker. Penalty flags are down near the 43. 6 on the return, and looks like this will be against the Stampeders for infringing on that 5-yard area.
The momentum has changed a little bit. Right now in this second half, Saskatchewan's playing in Calgary's end of the field for the most part.
No yards. Calgary number 29. First down.
A couple of mistakes now by Eddie Davis. That's 2 penalties in a row for him, and he also got beat on the touchdown.
8:32 remaining in the third quarter. The Riders have roared back. They trail the Stampeders by 4 on Adidas Friday Night Football. Back for the Saskatchewan first down. Again, the Rough Riders begin in outstanding field position near midfield. Burris far side. He's got his man. Fred Bailey hangs on, breaks away, and he'll have the first down for the Rough Riders.
This is what Fred Bailey brings to this team and what he's brought to every team that he's played for. He spent some time in Calgary and Edmonton. It's what he can do with the football after he catches it. So a lot of the plays that will be designed for Fred Bailey will be the short passes and then have him turn around and make something happen on his own.
Gain of 14 yards, so Bailey gets this Rough Rider offense moving as well. And Burris is playing with an awful lot more confidence all of a sudden. Saskatchewan first down. Nowhere for Tyler to go. Reverses and dives back. To grab a little bit.
It's a lot of running for 2 yards.
Yeah.
You know, I got a question for you. I wonder what Greg Frere is going to look like in UBC blue and gold.
Yeah, here's the Shrimp Bowl halftime update. Of course, the Shrimp Bowl in Vancouver tonight between UBC and Simon Fraser. UBC has the lead by 10. And you're going to look good in blue and gold next week as well. I expect it to be worn in the telecast. Burris lost the ball.
I think the ground made him fumble.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't think this will be a fumble.
Well, it was whistled down a little bit late, but they're not calling it a fumble because the Stampeders didn't go diving for it in there.
Well, when Burris reached forward, the ball hit the ground, and that's when it popped out, and the ground can't make you fumble. So here comes the quarterback draw. Now watch, that's a design play from Henry Burris. There, the ball's down. He had control. He hits the ground, and it pops out. It's a good call by the official.
An 11-yard gain for Saskatchewan to keep this drive alive. Now inside the 30, 6:53 to go, third quarter. Riders are rolling. Trailing by 4. Burris into heavy coverage And Curtis Marsh couldn't bring it down.
John, Calgary rushed 3 players, and Henry Burris had to rush the throw. I mean, that's some kind of luxury for Mike Roach, the defensive coordinator, to be able to rush 3 and force the quarterback to throw quickly. That's 3 against 5. If you just do the math alone, it shouldn't make any sense. It shouldn't, but it is, and it does for Mike Roach. And
sometimes it works. I mean, that's a great front that the Stampeders throw at you. Burris looks deep and too deep. Miscommunication there.
Well, and this time Calgary goes with the blitz. They bring the safety down, Greg Frères. He comes on the blitz. So Burris has to get rid of it. Demetrius Bendros, I thought, looked like he was supposed to run what's called the corner pattern, where he goes down and then breaks to the flag to the outside. Instead, he ran straight down the field, and Burris just didn't have time to wait for him to open. He had to throw it and hope that he would be on the same page, and he wasn't. He was reading a different book.
So Paul McCallum, who missed a field goal late in the first half, kicks with the breeze this time. It'll be spotted at the 37. And the Riders and the Stampeders draw more flags.
Well, if it's against
illegal procedure, Saskatchewan 54.
It's a couple for O'Day tonight. Jeremy O'Day filling in for John Terry.
On the snap count, it looked like he kind of shifted down. And it makes it a longer kick for Paul McCallum. But like you mentioned, he does have the win. It's well within his range.
McCallum puts back down to the 42-yard line.
Longest 53 on the year for McCallum. He's at 42 now with the wind at his back.
And he's missed another one. So this one will go for a single, conceded by Marv Coleman. So a couple of misses by McCallum.
The timing was off on the hold, I think. Dylan Ching just couldn't get it around, and the timing was off.
Stay tuned immediately following the game for the TSN Turning Point, brought to you by the fluid experts at Mr. Lube.
They are so nice.
Very nice.
They really are nice.
Nice as I've seen.
Aren't they nice?
Unbelievably nice.
Mr. Lube, for a nice, fast, friendly oil change.
Why can't you be that nice?
I am that nice.
Mr. Lube, doing it right before your eyes.
So back-to-back misses for Paul McCallum, or the Roughriders would be ahead in this ball game.
Yeah, Dylan Ching is the holder. Watch how he has to reach around, then he comes down with the football. He gets it down in time, but it looked like McCallum had to wait. When the timing was off, that can throw the kickoff.
Wide open. Travis Moore, huge first down for the Calgary Stampeders as Moore is still on his feet. Finally chased down by a couple of Roughriders. A 42-yard gain. Dickinson to Travis Moore right after that Rough Rider drive ended with just a single point.
That's the straight bus. See Marcus McDavid, he went all the way across with Mark Bolrichter. See the speed of Mark Bolrichter, who came across the middle of the field, influenced the safety, Marcus McDavid. When he goes with Bolrichter, that leaves Travis Moore wide open down the seam.
Travis Moore had a couple of difficult moments in the opening half, but he makes it up right there with 42 yards. Dickinson goes for 6. Bolrichter can't bring it down, and a flag is down in the end zone.
Antoine Hunter was screening. Dave Dickinson wants it on the 1-yard line. He's going to get it. I don't think Antoine Hunter interfered with Bolrichter, but he put his hands up in his face without looking back to the football.
Forward pass interference. Saskatchewan 39. First down.
Back-to-back huge plays for the Stampeders, who roar right back into this. 13th Saskatchewan penalty for 91 yards.
There's the ball, the long deep pass, and you see there's the screening right there, and actually there was a little bit of contact as well. I don't think the call was on the contact, more on the screening. You got to look back to the football if you put your hands in the face of the receiver.
Stampeders are set up at the Saskatchewan 1, first down. Calgary leading by 3, and Dickinson has the touchdown. Dave Dickinson, 4th rushing touchdown of the season. Right in behind Jamie Crysdale. fairly simple. You just follow the old 67 Crysdale.
Yeah, I guess
From
so.
1 yard out.
I'm assuming you're talking about Jamie Crysdale, the center.
Yeah.
It was number 67. Well, that's who he went in behind. The Crysdale led the way. He was in the back seat of that Crysdale.
He was. Couple of huge plays. Travis Moore, and then the penalty against Saskatchewan for interference, and the Stampeders have opened a 10-point lead again.
Couple big plays by Dave Dickinson. The first one to Travis Moore really set it up, and that's what gave the Calgary Stampeders the momentum. When that seam pass by Travis Moore was caught, that got him down there, and then the interference call on Antoine Hunter, but a tremendous call by Dickinson.
35,967, the second sellout of the season here at McMahon Stadium. Saskatchewan Roughriders always draw a crowd in Calgary.
And they're pretty excited right now. The Calgary bounced back after it looked like Saskatchewan had a little bit of the momentum with a couple of drives, and we're playing really in Calgary's end of the field.
Other sellout this season, Labor Day. The Eskimos usually get a few to come out and watch them when they come down here too.
See Bo Richter across the field. This is the big play down the seam to Travis Moore. Bo Richter took Marcus McDavid out of there, and then McDavid missed the tackle. That's really the momentum changer. That's the play that gives Calgary back the confidence. Then they go straight down the field to mark Bo Richter, and with that young secondary rattled a little bit, an interference call on Antoine Hunter, and all of a sudden Calgary's back up on top in a big way again by 10.
The penalty set the Stampeders up at the 1 yard line, and from there it was Dave Dickinson. Ready for the Calgary kickoff. And McLaughlin will respot it. 21-11, Stampeders leading the Roughriders.
See that? He's got the T upside down.
Really?
Yeah, kickers are strange, huh? They get the T and then they put it upside down and then they tee it up like that. It's actually supposed to sit on those three prongs and sit in the middle there. Kickers are a different breed.
Didn't work very well either, did it? Ben Ross will give the Roughriders decent field position on a short kickoff of 42 yards on the upside down tee.
He's kicking.
I'm glad you're here sitting right beside me.
Well, Mark McLaughlin's been Mr. Consistency this year. 82% on the season, 33 of 40 in the field goal department. Second in the Canadian Football League with that percentage, and 13 years with the Calgary Stampeders. But he's got the T upside down on kickoffs.
There's an injured Rough Rider being tended to at the 45.
In all seriousness, the reason he does that is because he can get some more height on the football, and he's kicking the ball into the wind right now, so he kicks it into the wind hoping it hangs up there a little higher, and he gets his cover team down there. Maybe they can get a fumble recovery.
Kennedy Kiason is the injured Saskatchewan Rough Rider. So timeout at McMahon. The joint is jumping with the Stampeders on top, 21-11. Kennedy Kiason heads to the far sideline with the Rough Riders down by 10 points again. Saskatchewan clawed closer with a touchdown in the opening drive of the second half, but gave it right back.
Well, the last time the Riders won here was '89, and that's the kind of helmets they used back then.
Those air foam jobs, or air-filled jobs. And the Outriders of the Calgary Stampeders will be enjoying this season a little bit more with the Grey Cup in Calgary. 8 weeks from this weekend.
Temporary stands being built in the end zone as we speak.
Tyler broke one earlier, but he hasn't had much running room so far tonight. Number 35, Deon Tyler.
They really are, John, I think, building momentum for that Grey Cup here in Calgary. It'll be a sellout guaranteed. They're over 75% sold. And in the end zone to our left, they're building the temporary stand.
There's your seat right there. I've got a spot for you.
That's going to be me right up in there?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll sit right up in that spot.
Nice and high, looking right into the teeth of the wind.
Can I be up here in the warm booth?
Whatever you want. On second down, miscue between receiver and quarterback, it would appear. As Curtis Marsh was the intended receiver and looks a little puzzled over there.
Well, he didn't get out of his pattern in time before Burris threw that football. Burris had to throw it because he had some rush on him, and he's been like that all game long. So when he comes out of that break, ball's already in the air, and then when Marsh turns around to look for it, he can't find it. You can't blame Curtis Marsh for that one.
Greg Freyers is the injured Calgary Stampeder. He came into the game on a tender ankle and missed some playing time last week. I don't know if that's the problem again or not as Pat Clayton takes a look.
Dion Tyler was blocking him on the play. He went on the blitz and was in the mix there in the box, you call it, the tackle box. Tackle to tackle and a yard deep.
Tackle box, I thought that was for fishing.
Yeah, well, there's tackle boxes in fishing, and there's the tackle box in football.
Okay, I got you.
Tackle box in football is a little more violent than the fishing tackle box. Although the odd googly-eyed wobbler has got a few salmon in its time.
Oh yeah, and you can get hurt in a tackle box in the boat, you know, with the sharp hooks.
Very true.
Third down kicking situation. Another flag is down, and they tried to whistle this down before the punt.
Well,
got away from McCallum.
Calgary Stampeders looked like they jumped offside, which could be interesting for Saskatchewan because if it's a 5-yard penalty, it could mean that you're about 3rd and 1, and I think Danny Barrett's kind of marching it out to see how close he will be. It's exactly what he's doing to decide whether or not to gamble, and he thinks, no, we might as well just punt it anyway.
Well, he'd be at midfield with 5 yards added onto this third down kicking situation, so it's, you know, we can't tell from here if it's a long yard or...
Well, I think he'd be 2. He'd be almost 2 yards, so it is still too far and too early to gamble at this point in the game. Although he has once already on 3rd down on the 4-yard line going in.
I think a little different story down there where he really had to try and establish something for his team.
Offside, Calgary. 3rd down repeated.
So they'll do it again, then move it up, and it will be about, well, 1 and a bit.
Yeah, that's a long
bit.
Yeah. It's not the longest yard, but it's looking like the longest yard.
Interesting, though, Wally Buono has sent in his defense to defend against this punt formation, just in case.
Better kick for McCallum. The Riders will be happy with that as he rolls it out near the 10-yard line. 1st and 10 Stampeders when we return to Adidas Friday Night Football. There's a full house at McMahon for this one tonight.
Swipe your club card at Safeway for automatic $1 million touchdown to win entry. If your name appears, you won a trip for 2 to Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. You'll fly Air Transat for an all-inclusive 7-night stay at Villa Veradero, all courtesy of World of Vacations. Swipe your club card at Safeway today.
Riders getting their boys back into the game at 21-11. They're looking a little different than when we saw them before the game, Glenn, because a few of them had rollers in their hair as they arrived at McMahon Stadium tonight.
Yeah, they changed all that when it's showtime.
It's showtime now. 2:33 to go, 3rd quarter. 1st and 10 Calgary, beginning at the 10-yard line after a superb kick by Paul McCallum. Bounced out right there. Dickinson for Rock Preston. Nice hole opens up for Preston as he has 12 yards. He hasn't been used a great deal tonight, but he's made a couple of key runs.
Well, and they got to go back to it to get that balance for that Calgary offense. That's when they've been most successful. It's been with Kelvin Anderson, but Rock Preston does the same thing. Get the balance. A little bit of run, a little bit of pass. That's when Dave Dickinson's at his best.
And a little breathing room after a 12-yard gain. Out now at the 22. Dickinson. Shotgun. And he missed his target near side. Looking for Aubrey Cummings, 87.
Well, he looked at every target. He had time to look at every single target across the board. Good coverage downfield, but really, Dave Dickinson only had 3 receivers. He had brought everyone in to block against that blitz. When he did that, he only had 3 receivers in pattern, so when they recovered, he had no options. But that tells the story for you right there. He's well below his league average.
From the 22, 2nd and 10. Dickinson has time and decides to take off. He won't get to the 1st down marker. Stopped at the 25. So when you look at the overall game that the Roughriders have played defensively, you really have to give a lot of praise to the way this defense has come up and made some big plays in key situations.
Well, absolutely. I said earlier that they live and die by the sword, and they right now have the sword in their hands. They look like swashbucklers because it's working for them, and they're keeping them in the game. Dave Dickinson averaging 300 yards passing per game coming in is well below that, and that's because the defense is playing pretty well right now.
Martino set to punt it away from his 11 with the Stampeders on top by 10. Big charge was on, and he shanked this one a little bit. Again, the Riders will have great field position and yards added with all those penalty markers there inside the 40. Let's bring in Ray Morrison. Ray?
Welcome down to Fieldside here. We're with Kelvin Anderson. And Kelvin, tell me a little bit first of all about Rock Preston. His play has been unbelievable in stepping in when you've been out with your shoulder injury here.
Yeah, definitely. Rock is he's definitely doing what the coaches asked him to do tonight. He's blocking very well, so I just hope to get the ball more.
Tell me a little bit about your injury. When are you set to come back, and how's it feeling?
Well, right now it's just like a deep shoulder bruise. I feel like I can come back next week, but I'm getting treatment on it. I feel pretty healthy right now, but you know, so I'm just gonna keep working on it really. But right now I feel like I should be back next week.
Kelvin, thanks for the time. Let's go back to John Wells.
Well, the Roughriders are getting a few more breaks going their way. Another penalty sets Saskatchewan up after a poor kick at the Calgary 35-yard line. Burris, pump fake works, tries it again, and looks to the end zone for Bailey. No. Another penalty flag down right near the 10-yard line.
Well, he had so much time. There's a penalty flag over by the 10. That would indicate pass interference. But when Henry Burris has that much time to pump fake everybody across the board.
The double.
Illegal contact on a receiver. Calgary 17.
He's got like the quick action shotgun because he was pumping that like crazy. And there's one pump fake right there, and there's the penalty on Marvin Coleman. That's on Curtis Marsh. That was the first pump fake. There was another one, and then Burris went to Bailey. So
the Riders get a first down out of this. The flag does not go down in the area where Marsh hit the turf, but it is first down Saskatchewan at the 25. Burris with time. Galliford has made big catches tonight. Very close to a first down there. Jackie Kellogg brought him down.
Well, that's a good matchup. I mean, right there, one of the best in the league, and Jack Kellogg, who's played very well over the last 6 games, has 4 interceptions on the season and 2 touchdowns. One went 109 yards. Playing against Eric Gulliford, who's been in a battle tonight, and Gulliford has caught a few.
Yeah, Gulliford's come on in the second half without doubt.
Well, he's caught a few on a very, very good halfback in Jack Kellogg. 2 veterans battling it out.
Yeah, it's a good matchup. And you talk about Kellogg coming on the last 6 games. Earlier in the season, I mean, he wasn't playing all that poorly, but he did have some injury problems, bothered by a hamstring.
That's right.
Really a troublesome injury. And there were a couple of games that a lot of people didn't think he should be in there, right?
Well, that's right. And, you know,
early I'm talking about.
Absolutely. The hamstring was very tender for about 4 weeks in the middle of the season. It's okay now.
And another first down for the Roughriders. Burris tries to get a little closer. He does. Touchdown, Curtis Marsh.
Oh, Greg Frères had a shot at it. It's a game of inches. You hear it all the time, and that was an inch away from an interception. Turns into a touchdown for the Riders.
Yeah, an inch the other way. Touchdown. 6 for Saskatchewan. And the Roughriders have climbed back within 4.
Well, just as we talked about Jack Kellogg, he went on a blitz, on a halfback blitz. Greg Frères had rolled back to the middle of the field. He saw the ball being thrown and was very close to intercepting it. It went through his fingertips and into the hands of Curtis Marsh for a big touchdown.
And the convert will be the final play of the 3rd quarter in Calgary. Marsh gets the Roughriders a little closer. Henry Burris celebrates, and a quarter to go here in Calgary.
Adidas Friday Night Football on TSN at the quarter. Brought to you by New Arctic Ice, the invigorating new fragrance of the Gillette series. It's beyond refreshing.
As we start to head into crunch time in the CFL season, this is the type of game that can really define a team. And you saw Saskatchewan, the early struggles, but people put up with that because they were a young team. Then they came on strong and then started to slump again, and you started to wonder, okay, what kind of team is this? The team that had won 4 in a row or the team that had struggled? And I think they're trying to make some sort of statement tonight, hanging in there.
Well, they are making a statement, and the individual that's making a statement is Henry Burris, because we discussed at halftime if there's one player that has to take this game over, it's the quarterback position. He opens up with the 9-play drive, 57 yards, 4 minutes and 33. He rolls to the right, sprints, there's a touchdown pass. Then in the very next play, or in the very next series, he takes it over, decides he's going to take things in his own control, runs with the football, sets up a possible field goal. The disappointing part was that defensively, Saskatchewan didn't respond. It took 2 plays for Calgary to get back in the game. But Henry Burris, I think he's doing the job in the third quarter.
No doubt, Chris. They were responding to Henry Burris and to Danny Barrett's attitude on the sidelines. Very enthusiastic, very upbeat. But I look at Calgary. This is supposed to be a first-place team out in the West. They got to play like a first-place team. Right now, they're just doing enough to win and to stay involved in this football game. They're keeping Saskatchewan too close. They're not putting the nail in the coffin. They need to set this tone in the fourth quarter, put the nail in the coffin.
Yeah, they do, Matt. Right now, this is anyone's game, and it would be a big, big step for this young Saskatchewan team if they can get a win on the road. I think Henry Burris has to avoid mistakes. On that last drive, he almost threw an interception, which would have taken points off the board. If they play error-free football in the fourth quarter, hey, maybe they can do it.
And Saskatchewan has made a number of fourth-quarter runs this season and come back in football games. In fact, it's been their best quarter offensively all season long. They trail by 3 in this one, fourth quarter, right ahead.
Against long odds with all the injuries, Saskatchewan Roughriders still have hope with a quarter to go in Calgary.
Well, here comes the blitz from this side on Jack Kellogg. You see 3 there. He's picked up by Dwayne Demtrician. That gives Henry Burris a chance to throw this seam pattern to Burris, and watch how close to Mars, and watch how close that Greg Frères was to it. He was very close to it.
Sort of a night like that for Simon Fraser, folks. I have an update on the Shrum Bowl. UBC leads SFU 27-7 now. Here's Rock Preston. Returning for the Stampeders. He's out at the 41-yard line.
Well, we have to remind everyone, in case they didn't hear in the first half, Vince Danielson went to UBC for Calgary. Greg Frères, Jason Clement, and Kent Ring went to Simon Fraser. They have a bet. Whoever loses the Shrum Bowl, the other guy has to wear that team colors all week long, and it looks like Frères and the SFU guys are going to be wearing UBC blue and gold.
And I think you're part of this, too. I'm looking forward to seeing you next week in a varsity sweater with UBC on it.
Well, I'm
stripes on the sleeves.
I'm kind of torn because I was helping out coaching at UBC last week.
Oh, change sides. Here's Dickinson, far side. And it's been a tough night in some ways. For Travis Moore, number 83. He's dropped a couple. That wasn't a critical situation by any stretch of the imagination right now. But there have been passes that Travis Moore should have made. Well, catches he should have made tonight.
He's dropped a couple. He's straight out dropped a couple. And talk about a guy who's been working through injuries. He's had a bad ankle, has been on and off the roster. In fact, 2 weeks ago when these two teams played, Travis Moore didn't play in that game. And it's not close to 100% yet. In fact, when I asked him how bad it was, he kind of grinned and said, well, it's about 75, which is all I can ask for this time of year.
2nd and 10. Huge play for the Stampeders. Here's Pitts. Gets in the open. Can't come down with the football. There was tight coverage on Pitts by Antoine Hunter. Stampeder fans are looking for a call, but they're not getting it.
Well, Antoine Hunter victimized by Mark Bohlrichter early in the game with the interference call. This time, he uses patience. Now, watch as he goes with Alan Pitts down the field. He's beat right now, but he's patient. He catches up and waits for the ball to drop. And did you see how he peeked back over his shoulder? He may not have seen the ball, but just with his head turning back towards Dickinson,
he knew it was there. Right?
And that kept the flag of the referee in his pocket.
Stampeders lead it by 3 at 21-18. Almost a full quarter to completion here on Adidas Friday Night Football for McMahon. Martino, high. Gulliver from the 28. And not much more than that. 6 on the return after a 46-yard punt. Henry Burris gets another chance to get his mitts on the football when we return to Calgary after this.
Swipe your club card.
The numbers after 3 quarters have changed a little bit. The Roughriders have 151 passing yards. They have 17 first downs.
7 first downs in the first half, 10 in the third quarter. So Henry Burris has really come on in this third quarter and played a lot more confidently. There's the numbers to prove it. 1 quarter compared to 1 half.
And the running game simply not working for the Roughriders against this tough front four of the Calgary Stampeders with Fleming in the middle and Jacobs and Traversy.
Yeah, and we talked about the loss of Darren Davis to injury. He's been out. He's been their featured tailback. But maybe more importantly is the loss of Chris Zarka.
The blocking back.
The blocking guy. You got the blocking guy out and the starting tailback. I mean, Deon Tyler can run, but he can't run through Joe Fleming's arms. You got to have someone up there that can block him.
Dem Trishan is playing that blocking back spot, and he's used more as a receiver by the Roughriders lately. First down, and here's another one for the Roughriders.
Look at the gang tackling, though. I mean, it's the little things that Calgary does so well. Gulliford comes up with a first down, or you'd be very close anyway. But the gang tackling from the Calgary Stampeders is just very impressive, and that's one of the small things that usually turns into big wins for your team. There was about 8 red jerseys around Eric Gulliford when he was trying to make moves. See the guys, 3-man pass rush, but watch the pursuit afterwards. There's the catch. Now watch how many you got. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 Calgary Stampeders on the ball once it's caught.
Gulliford's 7th catch comes up just a little shy of the first down. 7 catches, 86 yards for Gulliford. A couple of key receptions, and this will be 3rd down and inches.
They're gambling on it. And, you know, this is where the question comes in. The changes on the offensive line. How well that defensive line has been playing for Calgary. Who wants it more? Who's going to get lowest?
3rd and inches as the Roughriders go gambling here. So the wild to develop. It opens up. Huge hole as Tyler takes out. Deon Tyler has a chance for the end zone and gets all the way to the 6. Well, you'd have to say brilliant call.
Well, when I first saw it, that was, I got to be honest with you, not my first thought.
I thought it was a slow developing play.
A slow developing play that is a handoff 3 yards deep in the backfield. When you only have a few inches to go, it's always the quarterback sneak, but not this time. And it turns out for Danny Barrett, that's the second, I would say, gamble that Barrett has made that has paid off in a big way. The first one when he's gambled on 3rd down on the 4-yard line going in, they score. That one doesn't go with the quarterback sneak, goes with that handoff, and Tyler rips off.
The gamble is not going on 3rd and inches. The gamble is going to that play.
Exactly.
But then again, the Stampeders were pulled. Burris on 1st down, goal to go. Intercepted in the end zone.
Well, and
Marsh was the target. Kellogg has the interception. His 5th of the year.
Unbelievable. You know what? I talked about the little things the Calgary Stampeders do well. The gang tackling. That Deon Tyler run on 3rd and inches, I believe it was Marvin Coleman who didn't give up on the play and caught him on the 6-yard line for what should have been a touchdown. He saves that tackle, and then this is the result after the Henry Burris interception. It is just the little things the Calgary defense does so well. They don't quit on any play. And you go back to that Deon Tyler run because of good hustle and the Calgary Stampeders not giving up, turns into an interception, and they hold Saskatchewan to no point.
An underthrown football.
Absolutely.
From the wrong pattern.
No, it was underthrown. It looked underthrown.
Kellogg has the interception. Stampeders have the 1st down, and Dickinson starts them back. Far side, Bo Richter. Mark Bo Richter.
Well, it's an amazing turn of events for Calgary. This was a situation with momentum that Henry Burris had a chance to really take advantage of this Dion Tyler run. Here's that gamble again. Dion Tyler gets that crease and takes off running. See, Jack Kellogg got blocked by Eric Gulliford, but watch the backside hustle. Here comes Marvin Coleman. He's up at the top of the corner there.
So be another Stampeder first down, Rock Preston on 2nd and 2.
It's Marvin Coleman who catches him, then the interception by Jack Kellogg, and it's a different game completely.
A 61-yard run virtually wiped out.
You do those
2 plays because of Coleman catching him, and obviously the interception of the end zone.
Well, here it is, the end of the play, and again, we got to show this one more time, because here it is. Look at the hustle. That's all the way across the field. Look at Marvin Coleman down. Actually, excuse me, Anthony Pryor, the rookie, was the guy. I thought it was 17. It was 37.
Dickinson eluded the first wave of Rough Riders, but can't get away from 2 after that, and he's down for the 4th time.
But John, in practice all the time, football teams will run what's called pursuit drills, where if a big play happens, everyone scrambles and they hustle anyway. And it happens once or twice in your entire season that hustle play pays off. And boy, did it ever for Anthony Pryor, because even if they don't get anything, they kept 7 off the board that Saskatchewan was knocking on the door to get.
The Bustuck and White share that quarterback sack. Dickinson, looks second at the box. He won't get it away. He was hammered a couple of times and then finally wrapped up by Arkel Trulock.
It's a little bit different strategy for the Calgary Stampeders to show what they were doing. Usually what Calgary has liked to do in the past is spread out the receivers versus blitz, as we see the Arkel Trulock. Look at all the blockers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That means there's only 2 receivers out in the patterns. Blockers all the way up there for the Calgary Stampeders. Dickinson has time, but he has no receivers to throw to, and eventually that blocking breaks down.
Sacked on back-to-back plays. 5th for Saskatchewan. Trulock has that one. Huge punt by Martino. Eric Gulliford for Saskatchewan. And he's out near the 33-yard line. 1st and 10 Rough Riders. When we return, it's Adidas Friday Night Football, and we're in for a wild finish. And we're 27-7. UBC leading SFU. Thunderbird Stadium tonight.
Well, Henry Burris has to try and shake off that interception now, and this is where you find out if the young quarterback has the poise to get it done. Crucial time in the football game, down by just 3 points.
And the Riders have wasted opportunities tonight. They've missed 2 field goals. And when they're first down at the 6-yard line, you had to think that there was a field goal virtually guaranteed just before the Kellogg interception. So that's 9 points we've counted so far. Just quickly. Riders trail by 3. Burris will get a first down out of this to Fred Bailey. And that's a huge catch out of the 45.
Well, it's a bigger throw for Henry Burris simply because I talked about the confidence factor. He has a chance to come down here after that interception he threw to Jack Kellogg. You know he's shaking a little bit, and here comes Fred Bailey. But he throws a nice pass into traffic, and Fred Bailey comes up with the first down. You see he runs that slant pattern on Anthony Pryor. He catches it, a good throw by Burris, and it's a confidence builder.
16 of 33, 171 yards. The numbers getting better all the time for Henry Burris. Saskatchewan first down. Burris stands in. Almost sidearmed that the way it came out of there, it looked like.
Yeah, it was probably Ray Jacobs' 6'2", 250-pound frame that made him sidearm it around him. Jacobs.
Watch again here.
He's at the right-hand side of your screen, and Burris stepping up. And there's Ray Jacobs with the big hit on Henry Burris. And when you got 250 breaking down on you, you tend to not throw with your same throwing motion.
Had to change it up a bit. 2nd down, 10 yards to go, Rough Riders. Out of the Saskatchewan 45. 7:38 to go. Stamps lead it by 3. Burris looks to the far side. And looks like that one might have gone away on him the way he's looking down at his hand.
Well, it's cold out there right now. I mean, and the temperatures continue to drop as the evening has gone on, and the players are warm, but the ball can be ice cold, hard to kick, and sometimes difficult to throw.
McCallum is in again. Stampeders protecting a 21-18 lead on Saskatchewan. Not a great kick this time. Riders making a bounce out of it. Not really. Stampeders get a break on the no yards call at the 40-yard line on the return by Marvin Coleman. So Dickinson gets the ball back, and we'll return to Calgary after this. Are you ready for this, Canada? This is Stadium, Calgary.
Keep it on.
Don't take it off. And you know what? Not everybody can dance to YMCA.
Beauty and the Beast right there.
Yeah, here's the beauty. Whoa.
Uh-oh. Oh, there goes the belt.
Okay.
Yeah, it's real funny till someone loses an eye.
Yeah. Or his drawers. All right. Safe at last. All right. Another full house at McMahon Stadium in Calgary.
You notice how they cut the music off right away right there, and then we'll get the guy to sit down again.
Yeah, well, they had to shut the music down or he was going all the way.
Exactly.
Vroom, vroom tonight. Championship auto racing on TSN. Japanese Grand Prix will have time trials at 11 a.m. Eastern tonight.
Okay, it's 15 hours. So it's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow.
There.
But it hasn't already happened.
No.
No. It's going to be live. Okay. All right. Dickinson got hammered as he got it away on first down.
You know, this may be Arkell Truelock's best game as a Saskatchewan Roughrider, other than maybe the first one he had back in 1998 in Game 1 when he had 3 sacks in one game. But Arkell Truelock has really played well. But we talked about Rock Preston's blocking ability compared to Kelvin Anderson. Kelvin Anderson's a better blocker, and a lot of times Preston has been asked to block Arkell Truelock, and Truelock's winning the battle.
Another huge play facing the Saskatchewan defense. It's 2nd and 10 Calgary. Markers are down. Dickinson has Preston. And Preston might have got an assist in getting the first down there from a Rough Rider as he was hit from behind.
Well, they were going to get
balls to the head.
They were going to get another chance anyway, I believe, because I believe George White was offside. So it was basically, I think, unless he was drawn, a free play for Dave Dickinson, although they'd like Preston to get the first down in his own and decline the penalty, and I think he's right up in there.
Well, the discussion continues. Another look.
Watch right here. There's George White. Jumps up offside inside that 1-yard neutral zone and couldn't get back. But was he drawn by any movement? Dickinson is talking to the officials, so that must mean, or he just finished talking to him, so it must mean.
Offside,
yeah.
Saskatchewan 38. Penalties declined, 3rd down.
Good eye. Well, Eddie Barrett was complaining about the number of penalties his team took in the first half.
John, it's an interesting call by Wally Buono, because he could have gone 2nd and 5.
And looking at 3rd and inches.
3rd and inches, but he still has to fake it, or still has to gamble here.
Oh, there was early movement.
Well, see, now, if by some reason
Calgary drew Saskatchewan outside,
then that's a bad call by Wally Buono, simply because if you go 2nd and 5,
you got a shot, you got Dickinson.
Offside,
yeah.
Saskatchewan 38.
Back-to-back on George White.
Turns out okay, but, you know, you go into that 3rd down gamble, and anytime you're gambling, even if it's inches, there's that element that it could switch and go against you because you could fumble the snap or get that penalty, and that puts you in 3rd and long now.
15th penalty for the Rough Riders. It's cost them nearly 100 yards.
But it worked out for Wally Buono, not so well for George White. And all the penalties Saskatchewan has had in this game.
Near midfield, first down Stampeders. Alan Pitts, big catch. Short of the first down. Grabbed by Omar Morgan.
Well, coming into this football game, the Saskatchewan Roughriders were 4th in the league in penalties. 132 on the season. And basically about 10 a game, and I would guess that number is up a little bit in this one.
2nd down. About a yard to go. And he easily made by Rock Preston. So the Stampeders continue this drive. Just over 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Calgary hanging on to a 3-point lead. Riders defense needs to make a stand here.
Well, this was Calvin time, so we'll see if George Cortez decides to make it Preston time, because usually at this point in the game, Calvin Anderson would take over, much like a Mike Pringle in Montreal. Now that they have the same confidence in Rock Preston.
Oh! Huge hit. Pitts couldn't hang on, but he jumped up in a hurry. Again, Omar Morgan, and he hammered Alan Pitts. Oh, no respect at all for the CFL's all-time leading receiver.
If you're one of those people that think there is another game that is more violent than this one, just go ask Alan Pitts what he thinks.
Yeah, he shook it off in a hurry, but you know he'll feel it later tonight or first thing in the morning. Dickinson goes right back. Pitts takes another hit. Or rather, Moore takes the hit and hangs on.
Well, Pitts was blocking. He came in to block on the play and just sort of leaned on his man. He had to block on the backside. That gave Dickinson some time to throw the football, but Pitts shook off the big hit from Morgan. He's going to block over there. There's Alan Pitts, and here comes Travis Moore over the middle. Pitts makes the block down at the bottom of your screen. Moore makes the catch. So Alan Pitts contributing even when he doesn't have the football in his hands.
Dickinson on first down. Looks for 6. It's Alan Pitts. Taking that huge hit, Pitts is along in the end zone for the touchdown.
And that's what I was going to say, is that touchdown, and Pitts has had a few in his career, but that one feels that much better because of the hit he took. He shook it off, he picks up a block on the next play, and then comes up with a touchdown. That's why Alan Pitts is the best slot back in Canadian Football League history, because not many could shake off a hit like that.
He holds all major CFL receiving records. Set a couple this year. 6th touchdown of the season. And it's a key one for the Calgary Stampeders, who increased the lead to 10 with that convert. Stampeders needed 7 because the Roughriders kept squeaking back into the game.
There's very few players in any league that can take a hit like that, get up immediately, make a block, and then a play later, run down the seam into the middle of the field knowing that he's likely going to take another hit. He doesn't, comes up with a touchdown. He is the best.
All right, it's finally all clicking for Dave Dickinson, who hasn't had his best night, but he has been efficient, and he's moved his football team and actually scored when he had to.
Yeah, and typical Dave Dickinson, he has not made the big mistakes, the interceptions like you think.
Oh, there have been some drops out there, too.
Sure, but you think to the Henry Burris interception when they're knocking on the door to Jack Kellogg. That's the mistake that Dave Dickinson does not make, and he hasn't made all year long.
Slow start, 19 of 32, but he's up there, 215 yards. The yardage total is not there, but his ratio is pretty good again. Ben Ross looking for anything to get the Roughriders a return here, and a long run for about 1.5 yards. 8 plays.
That when he hit Curtis Marsh, maybe a little frustration there because he went to Simon Fraser and Marsh couldn't catch up to that.
So anyway, it's a heated rivalry, as Glenn Suter knows, because he used to play for SFU, but here are the guys who used to play for one of the 2 schools.
Right here
in blue.
These 3 guys right here are going to be wearing UBC blue all week here in Calgary.
Now, Jay Prepchuk hangs on. and wins this game for the UBC Thunderbirds, I'm expecting him to send you to Toronto next week with a blue and gold sweater with UBC Thunderbird on it somewhere. Here's Burris, and he's almost intercepted as he looked long.
Number 86, Demetrius Bendross is incomplete. And Saskatchewan will go with the punt formation, 3rd and 10.
So the Riders are running a little short of time here. With 2:42 to go, they'll have to kick it away.
Well, it's a tough situation for Danny Barrett because it's almost, 3-down football time.
He needs 10 points to tie. 2 scores to tie.
Yeah, and this will be the last time they do punt, but that's the one where you almost think it should be, why not try a gamble?
Aubrey Cummings, and a flag goes down on the Saskatchewan coverage. Their Riders are calling for him,
saying he fumbled there
over the
sideline.
I don't think they're winning this little argument. Tomorrow, Tiger Cats and the Argonauts in Toronto on Monday. Thanksgiving fair.
No yards. Saskatchewan 38. First down.
Edmonton at Montreal Monday, as well as Winnipeg at BC. To wrap up week 14 in the CFL.
Important game for both Winnipeg and the BC Lions. They're really battling for a playoff spot in the West Division if Winnipeg can cross over, or Winnipeg can go after that 3rd spot in the East.
I wonder if the bookies are making any money on the CFL this year. I don't think the bettors are.
It is tough.
Tough to pick them. Riders had an opportunity to win this game here in the 4th quarter tonight. Bo Richter can't hang on to that one. Looking back to turning points in a 61-yard gallop. Yeah, when Dion Tyler gets Saskatchewan down to the 6.
Well,
they can't get it into the end zone. Tyler is caught from behind by Pryor. And then the next play, Jack Kellogg intercepts, snuffs out the drive. Riders are lined up at the very least to go in and tie the game with a field goal, but a touchdown puts Saskatchewan on top.
Well, I think it was the play of the game. Anthony Pryor tackling Dion Tyler. He would have scored, not for the hustle from Anthony Pryor.
Markers are down, and Dickinson is wrapped up again. The Pustuk. Sheldon Napustuk was there, number 92. Dave Dickinson is one tough customer, isn't he?
Well, he is, and if you can imagine the dream year for quarterback, he's having it. And right now, if we were to vote today for the league's most valuable player, with honorable mentions to Anthony Calvillo in Montreal and Mike Pringle in Montreal, who are also
but as it stands right now.
But as it stands right now, he would get the vote. Dave Dickinson.
Coming into the game, 28 touchdown passes, 4 interceptions. So the Riders have 2 minutes and 5 seconds to score twice. And they'll need big plays from the offense here. Gulliford wrapped up near the 27-yard line. Less than 2 minutes to go.
Well, it's not, it's not impossible. You have 2 minutes left.
No, it's never impossible with this kind of time on the clock, but you need big plays and you need something in a hurry. You want to get the touchdown as quickly as you possibly can and then try and set yourself up for the field goal. Henry Burris on first down. Here's the charge. Burris got it away. Tyler breaks one tackle and ran through another. That's a tough first down if he, in fact, gets credit for all the yardage he picked up there.
And it took a long time.
Yeah.
But, last week, the BC Lions and Edmonton Eskimos were playing a game, and the Lions scored 10 points, tied the game in 21 seconds. 21 seconds.
Couple of short kicks, right?
On the clock. They got a short kickoff from Louis Pasaglia. They recovered it, got an interference penalty. They scored 10 points in 21 seconds. Henry Burris has a minute and 45 here to score 10 points.
Yeah, this will be enough for the first down for Burris on 2nd and 1. So the Riders will move the yardsticks again, but time is the enemy of Danny Barrett right now. Riders are currently 2 points back of the BC Lions in 4th place in the West.
Well, if the training staff went out to attend to Henry Burris, he's got to come out for 3 plays. Ivan Gutfriend is the trainer. What happened was Henry Burris looked like he went down with a cramp, and he was stretching, wanting to get back in the huddle. Obviously, Danny Barrett wanted him to stay in there, but now the training staff has gone on the field, and as soon as that happens, Henry Burris has now got to come out for 3 plays.
So that might about end it with 1:43 to go.
So now Marvin Graves, who is freezing cold, has not thrown a football and had the park on over there on the sideline.
Has not thrown a pass since his return to the CFL.
He's got to warm up in a hurry, and it's not easy to warm up when it's freezing cold in Calgary. And winter is here, and it's a crucial 3 plays.
Well, yeah, just the most critical 3 plays
in the game.
Of the game. On the other side of things, the Calgary Stampeders, a model of consistency in this one tonight. They scored 7 points in each quarter for their 28-point total.
Well, sometimes
a touchdown a quarter.
Sometimes the good teams, John, win ugly, and it was not the best performance for a couple of players. You know, Travis Moore dropped some passes he should have caught. Dave Dickinson wasn't always on target. He was hit a few times, some breakdowns up front. Defensively, they gave up some yardage, but sometimes you win ugly when you're very good, and this is a very good football team.
I shouldn't really say a touchdown a quarter because they didn't get a touchdown every quarter. They did get 7 points a quarter with field goals and safeties and everything thrown in there. Marvin Graves signed with Saskatchewan after week 4. Played in the Arena Football League with your old coach, I do believe, the Iowa Barnstormers.
Yeah.
John Gregory still there, right?
John Gregory.
Yeah.
Speaking of 89, John Gregory.
How do we always drift back to there?
Well, you said that in 89 was the last time the Riders won in McMahon Stadium. Well, John Gregory was our coach then.
There you go. It's clever the way you just
I always try and bring
use
up
those
89.
segues.
And, you know, every park I go to across the country, that's the first thing the guys say. It's usually like Paulus Bollison from Hamilton. So, you know, if I hear another 89 story.
Yeah, on TSN.
Yeah.
Ever.
Okay. Okay, I promise that'll be the last one.
No, it won't. I know you can't leave it alone. You won by 3 points.
Okay.
It was the immaculate hold, as you put it down, for Dave Ridgway, and it was an 80-yard field goal, right?
Hey, you know what we could do on your show on Sunday? We could do like an 89 recap. No, you don't want to do that. You want to do that? What do you have on the show?
Hey,
coming up on Sunday.
The Twins are on Sunday.
Oh, okay. Well,
Sedin Twins.
Hockey season just started. High expectations on the Sedin Twins in Vancouver. So you don't want to do the 89 recap on your show?
No, we'll do that. In 2009, 20 years after the fact.
I'll still be telling the story.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, that's Sports Desk Extra Sunday morning. Graves in at quarterback, takes a hit on his first throw, and it'll be 2nd and 10. Welcome back, Marvin.
Yeah, welcome back to the CFL. Welcome back, and let me put you on your back. Because this is like freezing cold, trying to warm up, and then say hello to Joe Fleming. Hey, Joe, how you doing? Last time I saw you, you were in Winnipeg. Now you're lying on top of me.
2nd and 10. Saskatchewan. Riders need 10 in a hurry. They're down 28-18 to Calgary. And the backup quarterback is at the controls. Oh. I thought there might have been a face mask there. The ball comes loose. Riders get it back and get it out of bounds on the far side. I'm not so sure it wasn't whistled dead earlier.
You know, I thought there was a face mask as well. It looked like Marvin Graves' head kind of snapped back. It looked like he got a face mask that wasn't called. The ball looked like it sat on the turf for a long time. Graves couldn't get back to it. Let's just see if there was a face mask. Shante Peoples comes off the edge. He's working on Gene Mikowski. No, it was across the shoulder pads. His head snapped around when he's looking for the football, and it was behind Peoples.
Well, and not a great kick for the Roughriders. Aubrey Cummings rolls out near the 45. There's a minute to go at McMahon in Calgary.
When he plays out of town, it is especially important that my little Matt always eats his favorite.
Campbell's chunky seafood chowder, so thick and creamy, with all the big chunks of seafood and potatoes. It's the hearty soup he likes before the big game.
It's time to eat!
Matt, your mommy's calling you.
New Campbell's Chunky Seafood Chowder. Moms know it's the soup that eats like a meal.
Finish it up before you go and play again.
Stampeders will just try and take the final 59 out the clock here with a 10-point lead. And add a couple more to the Calgary total for a 5-point lead on Edmonton. Lions are hanging in third. Saskatchewan can't gain any ground. And those Eskimos have a tough weekend ahead with a stop in Montreal against the Alouettes.
Well, that's why when you look at BC, Saskatchewan, and then Winnipeg on the other side, I mean, you look at those three teams who are kind of battling for that spot, and Montreal plays Edmonton. That's a big one. BC and Winnipeg play each other.
Yeah, this all but locks up a home playoff game here at McMahon Stadium for Calgary. I mean, there are some mathematical situations, but
yeah,
all but
I
assures
would think
it.
so. Yeah, you know, I mean, they're definitely going to host a playoff game, and the way it stands right now and the way they're playing, it'll likely be the Western Final once again. So if you want to go to Calgary in Grey Cup time, November 26th, you're going to have to win here at McMahon Stadium at least once to get there. That's Calgary's remaining games. So they got Edmonton, BC. I mean, they can, with a win against Edmonton, can basically end it right there.
Yeah, I think that would do it. You know, it's coming up next week.
When you talk to Wally Buono about that, he would rather be in a fight to the end. He does not like to have it locked up early because he worries about his team becoming complacent in those 2 or 3 weeks, that the games don't mean quite as much.
Into the final 17 seconds. Dickinson goes down and takes a knee. Last we heard from the Shrum Bowl, UBC leading Simon Fraser by a decent amount.
So I guess fourth quarter. So you're not going to give the game ball to Greg Frères then?
No, I'm giving it to Alan Pitts.
All right.
He deserves the hit and scoring the touchdown 3 plays later.
And it was the touchdown that sealed it for the Calgary Stampeders.
So the final gun sounds at McMahon Stadium in Calgary. Wally Buono and the Stampeders roll on to another win, this time over the Saskatchewan Roughriders.